Hi, my name is Neiman Buffard. I'm an Aviation Structural Mechanic in the United States Navy. I'm also a car enthusiast, and this is episode 13 of The Dan Show.
All right, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Dan Show. Out the gate, I want to do a quick tribute. Of course, we record these episodes in advance, so we don't really talk about current events too much. But about a month ago, the acting and comedy community suffered a tremendous loss with the passing of Michael K. Williams and Norm Macdonald. Michael K. Williams, particularly amongst the black community, but everybody loved the guy. His roles in The Wire as Omar, Chalky White in Boardwalk Empire. His role, what was the boxer in The Night Of? I have to relook at it, but I mean, just talk about a truly iconic actor. Gave voice and face to a faction of life in America that's often overlooked and misunderstood, and just truly tragic. The verdict's still out on how he died. I don't want to get too much into that because if all that's true, that's pretty fucked up. But yeah, RIP to Michael K. Williams. I was devastated to hear that. Such a young guy. Such a nice guy. I mean, I decided to know him personally, but interviews I watch, I'm like, man, this guy is the opposite of Omar. Like, this guy is like a super cool, intelligent, according to him, he just like to get fly and go to the club and, just do normal people stuff.
Yeah. Just looking at the...
So, yeah, that was a tragic loss. Condolences to the acting community, the families, and to anybody that... is feeling a little bit sad about Michael K. Williams. Not even a week after the Michael K. Williams news, Norm Macdonald passed. Norm Macdonald's one of my favorite comedians. And he's the kind of comedian that he's every comic's favorite comedian. And I spent 2020 basically trolling all through Norm's entire career, watching every Dennis Miller, Opie and Anthony appearance, The View, Norm Macdonald Live, going back and watching the Norm Show. Just any clip or video that I could find of Norm Macdonald, I would watch it. And that's how I got through the pandemic, was watching Norm Macdonald and Tim Dillon every night. So I grew up watching him on the Norm Show on ABC and all that. Grim Reaper on Family Guy. He became Colonel Sanders at one point at KFC. I ain't gonna spend too long on this, but I had become a really big fan of Norm Macdonald. Watching all of his SNL Weekend Update monologues where he's just roasting OJ or Madonna or everybody for that matter. We live in an age where comedy is kind of a dying, authentic craft because everybody plays it safe. And Norm was one of those comedians that just truly didn't give a fuck. He never gave a fuck. From saying Bill Clinton was a murderer on The View to whatever. He battled 9 years with cancer, didn't even tell his family. It's a guy that truly just wanted to make the world laugh and didn't want anybody to feel bad for him. So even though this is kind of dated at this point, I had to give a tribute to Michael K. Williams and Norm Macdonald, two of my favorite actors and comedians. So yeah, RIP to both of them. And let's jump into this episode.
Well, Freddie Knight was his name.
Freddie Knight and The Night Of, yeah.
Did you see Lovecraft Country?
No, I didn't.
Man, it's a good one.
He's in that too?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had to check that out.
Yeah, he does an amazing job. That's probably his most out of the box role that you can see him in. So I would definitely check out Lovecraft Country.
Yeah. I know HBO is hurting. I know all the actors that work with him are hurting. And even with Norm, Dennis Miller, Conan O'Brien, Artie Lang. I mean, I'd seen Norm be close friends with so many people that I know have to be just completely devastated right now. So yeah, we'll move on from that. Two of my favorite guys left us last month, and it really sucks. But back to the point.
One of our favorite guys is here with us.
One of our favorite guys
Oh my
has joined
goodness.
us here on the studio, and this was kind of an unexpected interview, but I'm so glad that it happened. And honestly, Joe, unexpected interviews tend to be kind of the funnest ones. We have Neiman Buffard in the building with us, a.k.a. Neimanella. You know what I mean? Neimanella. What's my name, Neimanella?
Daniela.
Daniela.
I've been Daniela for like the last 15, 20 years.
So, Neiman is me and Joe's close friend. We went to high school with Neiman. Of course, did y'all meet in high school too? Or did y'all know before then?
Yeah.
High school.
So these two was like Ace Boon Coon in high school.
Because we met in high school, and then we happened to find out that we'd live near each other.
Right.
But the high school was the bridge, bridging the gap.
Right.
Because he lived on the other side of Martin Luther King, and so you just you stick to your neighborhood,
Yeah.
So, but then you this nigga's riding the same bus I'm riding.
Right.
Yeah,
we're
getting off at the same stop.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that happened.
So Neiman's our close friend. Neiman, 10 years ago, joined the Navy, and has been back and forth very seldomly since then. So we caught Neiman in a time where he was in Atlanta for a short period of time, and we was like, oh yeah, before we don't see Neiman for 2 more years.
before it's another 10 years before
Right,
it's back here.
let's go ahead and get him documented on there. And it's funny, you had even did an interview with us on the Morning After Show. It's so funny thinking about the Morning After Show because
our trial run.
Yeah, it truly was our trial run, and we didn't realize it because it was just something fun to do with the crew. But I'm so glad we did that because I don't want to be talking about Morning After Show stuff now.
At all.
At
Oh
all.
my God.
And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of our peers, that's what they talk about.
Cheers.
Is a lot of
Morning After,
Yeah,
10 years
it's-
ago type shit.
it's shit that was cool to talk about 5 years ago, but if you talk about it now, it just kind of shows you just have no content. You didn't give no thought to it. So I look back at these episodes and I'm like, damn, I'm glad we did that 50 times when it didn't matter. So that
No
we could
one
do
was paying
something like
attention.
this
it
that kind of
sounds
makes
like it
more
kind of
sense.
created a foundation,
Yeah, it did. It did.
100%.
So it had its purpose,
It definitely did.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's, I thank God for the morning show, or
The morning after
No, sorry,
show.
the morning after show.
Yeah.
Because that way, you know what not to do now if you're going to continue with it, which you
Exactly.
guys obviously have.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Neiman decided to join the Navy, and I want to start with your career before we go into the fun talk. What point in your life did you decide that, one, you needed to make a change? Because like I was telling you before, you were the first person of our crew to jump off the porch and make a life-changing decision. So what point in life were you like, hey, I got to switch some stuff up and set my life up?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. It was really back when everybody was working, like graduated high school, no real direction. Everybody's got jobs. We're working at Lennox, Aldo.
Right. I'm working at a hotel.
All these odd end
Blues.
jobs, and then
Right.
and what happened was, at the time I was working at Bloomingdale's, and I think I had been there about a year and a half now. Numbers were good, selling women's shoes. I sold
Shoes.
Regina King some shoes, while I was doing great, My numbers are awesome.
Did she say, nigga, you gay?
And like everything was good, and it was the holidays were coming up, and it was just right around the time where the economy just wasn't doing really, really good. And I
So what, this is like 2010, 9,
it had to
something
be
like
like
that?
it had to be like early 2009, and no, it couldn't have been because it was around the holidays, and I joined February of 2010. So maybe I won't go back as far as 2008. It had to be 2008, 2009. No, it might have been 2008 because it was around the holidays, and I had basically like a year to kind of get things together.
Right.
So I think it was 2008. Either way. What happened was Bloomingdale's was like, hey, you're great, but we have to let you go. And it was just that simple. It was just that simple. Like, I have a life. I have bills to pay. I have really a life. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I was caring for a family. But, like, I have obligations. And they're like, yeah, sorry, you got to go. And it was not anything individually, like, or personally, and it was just like, look, you're the newest guy. I've got a guy that's been here for 10 years. Got people that have been here for, like, career retailers, been here for almost 20 years. You're the newest guy. We love you, but you got to go. And that reality set in. I was like, I am expendable. Like, that's literally like a light bulb that went off, and I was like, this sucks. Like, how quickly you can let me go. And in my world, everything I'm doing is super important. Like, I have my dog at the time I had to take care of, my bills, you know, whatever, and my MARTA card, you know what I'm saying? I have to pay for that shit, you know? So, I'm like, and you guys are just like, without a care. Like, it's like, listen, sorry. Like, and it's not even like, sorry, but you have to go. And I was like, damn. And if I'm honest, at the time, another friend of mine, him and his girl had gotten pregnant. So, like they were about to have a kid, and I was just like, and it's just really like looking in the mirror. I was like, my boy, I was like, he is me. Like, we grew up in the same, well, not the same neighborhood, but we went to the same high school. We worked at Target together, you know what I'm saying? My buddy Sean. And I was just like, if ever I am chosen, you know, by some girl to procreate with, I'm gonna have to be able to provide. And I was like, that doesn't add, those two, like, having to provide and then being expendable doesn't, you can't have those two in the same conversation, you know? So it's
too
like,
big of a monkey wrench.
Yeah. So I was like, I need a real career. Like, not because we all had jobs. So everybody was getting money, make it with these jobs, but no career path, no any longevity. And I was like, maybe this military thing might not be a bad way to go. And yeah, like, that's where it all started. Yeah.
So what year did you join the Navy?
It was 2010. As a matter of fact, like, to make it was 2008. I got laid off right around the holidays. I had a year to get my friggin' make my mind up, and I was in the DEP. Shut up. The DEP program, the delayed entry program. So basically, it's like when they can't take you immediately, so you have some times to get your affairs in order. Yeah. And it's the DEP. I think it is delayed entry program. And I had a year, exactly one calendar year, and then I joined 2010 in February. So yeah, that was it. And honestly, man, like, just moving forward, looking back at it, like, it was one of the, I mean, it sounds cliche, it was one of the better decisions I made. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I totally agree. Joe mentioned it about the arm, but like I told you at lunch the other day, it seemed like when you broke your arm, the old Neiman died.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it to me, whether it was a contributing factor or not, I think your arm being broke also like made you think a lot about like life, having medical insurance.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because it probably did light a fire also, or just, you know, because it makes you think. You know, it puts you into, because that was the first bone I had ever broken.
Right.
How'd
Ironically.
you break your arm?
Shut up.
Running, racing.
There's no need to go down that road. It got broken. That's the end of it.
A foot race.
Yeah, it was a foot race.
It was a foot race.
Either way.
Into a ground race. A shoulder on the ground race.
But healthcare when you're young doesn't mean anything. You don't care about that stuff when you're young, you know. And just to fast forward a little bit, I know a guy that's in the military now, and I was trying to explain that to him. I was like, you don't care about the healthcare that you're provided already, because you're young and healthy. You don't have any illnesses or health defects or whatever, I don't know, you know, but health problems or issues. So he was talking about his pay. He was like, why do I have to pay this, da, da, da? And I'm like, you're paying it because, you know, you just have to, but you will appreciate it later when you go through complications. You know, like, most of the time, 17, high school years, so what, 15, 16, through almost like 25, you know, the average person is fucking fine, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really, as long as you're not doing any extreme sports or playing, you know, doing anything like that, you live your normal life, you know, it's no big deal. So it was just an eye-opener. I think it's funny because I didn't even think about that, like, honestly, until you mentioned it, but I was like, that probably was one of the contributing factors to like, man, this...
That's probably the last time we saw the old Neiman.
That's what I'm saying. Right. That was the end of that era of Neiman with the broke arm.
I don't think I saw you after that until after you had joined the Navy.
Is that right? Really?
I can't.
Yeah.
Probably.
Wow.
Probably.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, what would you say the biggest transition between civilian life and then going into military?
The biggest transition, and I'll say this without trying to be like a fucking weird person, but the biggest transition, man, is you don't know anybody. Like, everybody is new. It's like the first day of high school. You don't know anybody.
Right.
And
Except for you. You didn't go to middle school with the people.
Yeah,
it's no middle school transition.
It's way worse than that, because in most of the guys that went to Inman, you know what I'm saying, just go to Grady High School. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like everybody's new, and the biggest transition is like you have to remake new you have to make friends again. Like, most of the people that you know, like I say this all the time, like when people make it big and stuff like that. Like, no new friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, you bring up the people that you grew up around and that were there when niggas didn't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, when you, like, in your adult life, you're kind of set in your ways by then. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
You, like, everybody's new. You know, and it's just like, do I fuck with this nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
for
Like,
sure.
you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, and then there's
I be wondering that about.
but and then
Just playing guys.
your ego will tie into it too. You're just like, I won't be friends with this nigga. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But then you have the human element comes in. You need friends,
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You need camaraderie. So you find that common ground. So I think the biggest transition is like realizing that. And but so a transition that you have to get used to. And I'll only speak for the Navy because I'm only in the Navy.
Right.
But then you meet this person that you've kind of clung to, in the last 2 or 3 years, and then they PCS or they get out of the Navy, blah, blah, blah. So now you have to
start over.
You have to make friends, and then you have to adapt and adjust to maybe never seeing them again. And not because they got killed in action or something like that. We're not living in that kind of life. We're not boots on the ground type, I'm in the Navy. We're on the boats and stuff. But at the same time, you're like, he'll PCS. Like, and PCS is just, permanent change of station. Like, you're just going, well, I'm in California, you're going to, like, Virginia,
Right.
So you'll still be in the Navy, but I'll never see you again. Literally never. You know what I'm saying? Because Facebook or
Instagram.
And that's it. So it's a double transition. It's like you got to make these friends, enjoy them while you can, and then be willing and accept the fact that you may never see them again. That is probably the biggest, most I think that touches home. Moving a lot kind of sucks, but I think that's probably the biggest one.
What was your biggest hesitation of? What was the thing you had to think about the most?
It's almost like the opposite of that. It's like leaving my friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like leaving home, leaving community,
Right.
And stuff like that. Because, like, I think I read a statistic. It was like the average person only moves twice in their entire life.
Right.
I've moved 7 times in the last 5 years. In the last 10 years. So it's like
in terms of like a change of like true change of location.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, dude, we move all the time. So like one of the biggest things was like leaving this place I call home, leaving the camaraderie, leaving my niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was really tough. And I'm sure we'll get to how I made my decision, but. That's why I made my decision. I took the channels that I did to make the decision, because I am persuadable. Like I can be persuaded.
Right.
And
particularly at the age we were at.
And at the age we were at, like we talked about this. I was saying, like, we had lunch the other day, and I was like, yo, like at the time, bro, you realize I didn't realize it then, but we were very codependent on each other. Like I would make decisions based off of where my friends were gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Or like I was like, well, Joe, you want I don't want to do that if my niggas ain't going. You know what I'm saying? Or
where am I gonna work at?
Or you know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of decisions were made based off of like where my friends would be. And that to a degree has its ups and its downs, but for the period of time, you know, I can't think of anybody that hasn't made a decision that their friends have an influence, you know. So like I feel like it was appropriate for the time, and maybe it was that turning point where I was like, no, I need to make this decision for me, you know, because like, and this is not shade, but it's like them niggas won't be there when actually they would, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like at the time I'm like, you know, like, but you don't have any responsibilities at the time, so it's like it's not they wouldn't be there, but it's like you. They
not gonna raise my kid.
There you go. You're not gonna buy that bus pass because you gotta buy yours. You know what I'm saying? You have your own shit you gotta deal with. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to think about it. You have to like look down the road and like realistically. As a man, you have to stand on your own, you know what I'm saying? And your niggas are gonna be there. Like, my nigga Joe has been there on several occasions, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to like whooping somebody's ass, you know, like niggas will be there for the.
Don't ask me to do that no more.
But folks don't be believing that Joe whoop your ass too. That's what I love. That's what I love about this guy right here.
Anyone that doesn't believe it, I can attest to 2 occasions where Joe has definitely come to bat with me, you know. So like it's
Joe's not doing that.
no, I'm not gonna put anybody in those situations anymore. But either way,
I will.
Go ahead.
No, but it's like you just have to. It's that swift like kick in the ass where you have to like I have to grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I have to grow up a little bit, and so I made the decision not to join the military, but to consider joining the military and not telling anybody.
Yeah.
Because when I just considered the possibility of like a career path in the military, I was like, if I tell these niggas, they're gonna be like, stop. But stop.
Absolutely.
But stop. But you ain't going nowhere. You know, like shut that shit up.
Absolutely.
And as not to say as easily as persuaded I was, but my friends, my niggas, their opinions were important to me. So like I would have been like, yeah, y'all right, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck them.
Yeah, if you got 10 people telling you that you're crazy, you're like, okay, yeah, that's stupid. Like, but
exactly. So that's mainly why. And like, and I'll go as far as saying that I think I may have been a little more dependent on you guys than you may have realized. You know what I'm saying? And if it lends any weight to it, that's really why I was like, I can't tell these motherfuckers because I will just be like, yeah, no. Like it would have reversed my decision process. Yeah. And like, so that's why I was like, for the sake of future Neiman, you know what I'm saying? Like I have to make this with just my inputs alone, you know, and my reasoning and my hesitations and my, you know, the pros and the cons. You legal pad and you know figure out what and I think it worked out because honestly, man, like it's probably been one of the better decisions I've ever made. You know?
Well, like I told you the other day, I'm so glad that you are conscious enough to know that was a much more important decision than what we thought about it. And you are absolutely right. You would have came and told me that one day, I'd have been like, Neiman, it ain't nothing else you could do besides join the military. No, you know what I mean?
That's the Dan now.
Yeah,
nigga,
right.
Back then you'd be like, why shut that shit
yeah,
up?
Yeah, right. I'd been like,
stop.
You finna be getting up at 4 a.m. running up and down the goddamn hill. Age of pain spitting in your face.
Exactly. And I'm telling you, the younger me would have been like, yeah, you're right. Fuck this shit. You know what I'm saying? So like
What's weird is I feel like that was a turning point for all of us, not just for you. When we found out like, oh, this nigga Neiman is in the Navy now. It was like we were like, and he didn't tell us. I kind of feel like at that point we were just like, I think it's time for us all to kind of grow up a little bit here. Like,
subconsciously, whether we implement it in our lives or not. Once you left, it was like, oh shit, like
that nigga's gone.
Bruh really like
he made a big boy decision.
Bruh like jumped off the porch and we still just we just got jobs. You know, I could say I had a career in hotels, but it just was a job. Like just because you work somewhere for a long time, that ain't really a career. Like it could be a career, but it's
your career.
It's your career, but like to me a career is you taking the steps and building and moving up. But if you just work laterally for a decade, you just got a job. You know what I mean? Bro, like, I think I'm more in a career path now, what I'm doing, than what I was wasting my life. Not necessarily wasting, because I learned a bunch at the hotel. I could go back and run a department I could probably run a small hotel too. I just learned the ins and outs. And the thing about me, whenever you give me a chance to enter into your world, I literally am going to try to learn.
Take the reins, figure it out.
And it's not like an opportunist, because there's a difference between somebody who wants to learn and then somebody who just wants to be like an opportunist, like put themselves in a position to be near people. It's like, no. If I'm going to be doing a job, I may just have one position, but I want to learn all the positions. So even when I work now, like I've got one position, but I run the store.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
to do anything, you kind of have to know the ins and outs of all the other positions because they all intertwine. You know, So
you had made you made us really think about life. Or I'll just speak for me. I'm like, bruh. Particularly once you got like several years in, and it's like, this nigga Neiman is doing good.
That is
like good.
That is like I'm not trying to like break character, but I'm so glad this is live because that's honestly the first time anyone has like kind of leveled with me and been like, you know, like, because if that is actually true, like I thank God for the decision I made because like that just makes me feel that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's really good that. Like, a decision that I made only thinking about myself selfishly has not inspired, but, like, kind of kickstarted maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. Because at the end of the day, man, like, I post stupid shit like this all the time, but all I want to do is see my niggas do well. You know what I'm saying? So if I, without, you know, trying, have in any way kind of started that, man, that just thank God for that, you know? So,
you're definitely an inspiration for the crew.
Man, that's pretty cool.
So you spoke on briefly about family. What was the transition like being the old Neiman to being Daddy Neiman, husband Neiman? What's your position in the Navy?
What is my job?
Yeah, your job.
I am an aviation structural mechanic. I'm an E5 right now.
Okay.
I'm an aviation structural mechanic. If you're in the Navy, you know they just call them AMs.
Yeah.
So if someone junior to me was to approach me, they call me AM2. That's just how.
You work on planes?
I work. Well, just my last duty station, I worked on helicopters. But yeah. So
you're a mechanic on aircrafts.
Yes.
That's crazy because my helicopter the transmission.
Oh, you want me to take a look at it when we get done? I got you,
bro. Last time before I got married, when this nigga came here, when he landed, I'm like, great, I need my brakes changed. I need my brakes changed, I need my oil changed.
Right, nigga,
before he left, he got his hands dirty.
If you know how to fix planes, you can definitely fix my Pontiac, my nigga.
Yeah, no, that I work on aircraft. Like that is to keep it plain and simple. I'm a mechanic for aircraft. That's what I do.
Go ahead.
Did you choose that, or were they like, nah, you can work on cars, you can go and work on these planes?
Okay, so when you join, they have like
aptitude tests and shit like that.
Yeah, they give you the ASVAB. So what you take this ASVAB and all it is a placement thing. Like what are you already good at? You know what I'm saying? And then the Navy will try to highlight the attributes that you already have. So put it like this, just to be plain simple. If you like to work with your hands and you don't mind aviation, you know, like it's like, well, it's not a really hard algorithm to put together where it's like, well, like this guy could do well at this. And it's like, well, do you like to play in the dirt? Right. Do you like trucks and like diggers and stuff like that? Right. You could be like they're called CBs, but like they're like construction men for the Navy. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a hard thing to put together, you know, like.
Or it's like if you like to play with your hands and you like the internet.
Yeah, like maybe you could be an IT guy or you know, like a computer guy. You know,
are you a sociopath? Like to kill people? Right. Okay, we're gonna make you a SEAL.
Right.
So when I did the ASVAB test, my aptitude was like they were like you're good with mechanics and this, that, and the other, and then they'll give you like a few jobs. So I had AM, which is what I am now. There was a sub job, like the submarines. And then like there was like another job, and I was like one of the recruiters, fucking bitch. She was like, being this will help you become a pilot. They lied, complete horseshit, like complete lies. Like I hope everyone that's in the military or thinking about joining, your recruiters are there to make quotas. They will lie to you. They will lie. So now knowing what I know now, it's complete horseshit. Being an airframer will make you a better pilot, is what she told me. You didn't tell me you have to be an officer to be a pilot. I didn't learn that until I was like 5 years in.
Right.
So yeah, like I was like complete horseshit. But either way, but wait, where was I going with this? I forgot.
I was just asking. I first asked about being a parent, and we just shift over.
Oh,
to
okay.
being
So joining the military, like once you asked like what my job was,
right?
And so that is my job. And then the transition from like going into parenthood, I think we got to back up because I got married first, you know, and Jennifer like that transition was rough because I was like. Kind of like the decision to join the military. I was like, you know what? I'm leaving an old life behind and I'm going to start a new life. You know what I'm saying? Like my life in Atlanta, not my like entire life, but you know what I'm saying? My life, like living in Atlanta is over. Like, so the girl that I was seeing at the time lives in Atlanta. I'm trying to move away from Atlanta. You are staying there. I'm going to move. You know what I'm saying? It's like you stay, I'm going. And she was like, no, like we didn't get a chance. So like I'm gonna move to Washington. I was like, bitch, stop lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you ain't. And like, she was like, no. So she visited back and forth off and on, and for a little while, and now this is her thought process. She was like, we didn't get a chance. We didn't really have a chance to really date. Like it was either like an ultimatum, like either get on the train or I'm fucking gone. You know, she was like, well. I think her exact words were like, in order to give this relationship the chance it deserves, I need to move to Washington. And then she kind of went through some internal like, well, I'm not moving nowhere unless I got a ring on it type shit. And I was like, well, I ain't putting no damn ring on it. So like, see ya, you know what I'm saying? I was like basically calling her bluff. Like she was like, all right, well, I know, fuck it, I'm gonna move. And I was like, oh fucking shit. She was like, no, really, I'm gonna move. I was like, oh, okay, well, if you need some help, I got you. You know what I'm saying? So I flew to Atlanta. Didn't take leave, by the way. This was fucking stupid. Like, no vacation time, no nothing, because I wasn't supposed to. And I didn't have the leave days on, like, the vacation time. Right. So I flew to
So if them folks would have hit you up while you was in Atlanta,
like
you was going to be in trouble.
Like, hey, Buffard, we need you to come in. I'd have been like, oh, shit, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
so
I'm across the country.
Yeah. So I literally flew
got Atlanta campus.
Yeah. I flew to Atlanta on, like, a Friday night, was like, hey, I hope all your shit's packed, because if we're doing this, we got to go now. We literally drove across the country, which is a really great drive if you take the time to take in the sights, completely other topic, and then like, and you know, and I had to be back to work Monday morning. You know what I'm saying? So like a U-Haul, and I have a picture of Belvedere on the dash of this U-Haul riding across like Utah or some shit, and yeah.
Joe Belvedere's still alive.
Oh, nigga.
Mr. Belvedere's still here.
We'll get there.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, well, you know, like, well, helped her find an apartment and all this other stuff, and then, and like, it's weird because I went through this kind of like, I'm going through the motions of like helping you do this to facilitate this relationship, but I'm not trying to be in this relationship. So I was like, all right, now you're good. You know, I could still dip, like, you know what I'm saying? I could still be me, and you're like, and just be like, you're straight. I wanted you to be straight. Cause I'm not that big of a dick. You know what I'm saying? I was like, let's get your apartment straight.
But that's reality. It's like just because you done jumped off the porch to do this, that don't mean that have solidified us
exactly.
It's like, so, this shit still might not work out.
But I used that as a crutch for a long time. I was like, you know, so I didn't make you move, so I could still do what I wanted to do, da-da-da-da. And like, we went back and forth for a while. And I'm not gonna like get out of the details, but like, I basically was like, this is, you chose to do this, but I didn't, you know, like, I didn't make you do it. So, and we struggled with that for a while. And then I was like, and then the nominal value of being married in the military is just better. So I was like, I'm kind of seeing this girl off and on. She has moved the fuck up here. Yo, we should just get married so we can get this money, because right now you're not doing, Jennifer's a nurse, you know what I'm saying? But at the time she wasn't nursing. So like, you have this fancy degree, but you're not making as much money as you potentially could. So we need to, like, if I'm going to help you, you need to help me help you. So, like, let's just go ahead and get this marriage thing or whatever. Did not know how much weight how much marriage means to women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can tell by the way you said marriage thing.
Yeah,
this whole marriage.
Because to me, it was just like a way to make some more money. And that's God's honest truth, you know? And I, like, it was a struggle, because I was like, man, we done got this money now, and she's like, yeah, my husband, and I was like, shit.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Wait, what?
Not to mention you ain't told nobody.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I was trying to keep it under wraps because I was like, no, we just had to get some money, you know what I'm saying? And then after this, we're gonna call it quits. Once you get the job, we'll be good. You know what I'm saying? You'll be
Me and Joe
self-sufficient.
thinking about doing that.
Really, I can see that actually. Y'all can pull it off. Who's the top?
Joe.
Yo, okay.
Continue.
And so like and not to get into all the details of my now marriage, but like we struggled with that for a long time because I had such a image of myself that where I was like, like new me, new Neiman, new country, not new country, but new job, new career, new side of the fucking planet. Oh, not planet, but the country. Like I'm gonna date somebody this, and I'm gonna meet somebody new, and it's gonna be great. And, and Jennifer was like, no, we're doing this. You've already literally put a ring on it. I was like, fuck, I really did. Like, and I'm looking at myself. But what's crazy is like I subconsciously I think I kind of knew that she would be a good wife.
Yeah.
I just didn't want her to be my wife then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, can you just wait a minute so I can fuck these bitches? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and do all the dumb shit that I really wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. And she's constantly just like, no, like, this means too much to me to go back from it now. So I was like, and I really struggled with that for a long time.
The caveman, the natural caveman, and then like the nigga in us.
Yeah.
Kind of puts blockers on.
Yeah.
And doesn't allow us to see when someone does enter our life like, hey, bro. It's time
good for you.
It's time to focus on that.
Yeah, no,
but the dude, I don't not the nigga in you, but the guy in you is still like, hey, like I want that, but maybe like 3 years from now.
Can I like you see what I just did?
I still have like a list of things
I'd like to do.
Things I need to check off the list.
Yeah,
and then we can coast with me and you can coast into the sunset. And it's just like, nah, like you need to go ahead and throw in the towel.
You need to go ahead and make big boy decisions.
Really? No, and it's crazy because a testament to like someone's like grit because like I apologize 1,000 times. I could do it, but you have to really like give credit to someone that is literally like, yes, you need to do this, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And she was like, I think it's one of those things where she like, I think it's weird how women like love, like they see potential, they fall in love with your weird like spirit, your spirit, your person, you're the person you are, the man you can be, not the man you are now. You know what I'm saying? Right. So she must have seen something, and she's like, this nigga has not figured it out yet, and like that's got to be very difficult because that was a couple of years. You know.
Shout out to J-Mo. She's got her entrance into heaven.
Yeah, like
she is a saint.
She's dealing with my dumb ass. You know what I'm saying? And like And yeah, like she was just like, no, this is what should be, so like we're gonna pursue. I mean, we're gonna persevere through it, and I can't tell you how many times fast forward to now to the things that I have achieved or done that I literally could not have done without her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like it really. It's almost like, bitch, did you know this shit was gonna happen like this? Like, we've done pretty well for ourselves. 2 beautiful children, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And it's like I couldn't have done any of this without you. But then it's like, did you know? Like, how did you know? Like, how did you know things were gonna go so? Not gonna say so well, you know what I'm saying, so right. Like everything's perfect, but like. She gritted through it and was like, it's gonna be worth it. So.
Well, I'm not a guy that have been in very many relationships. In fact, I've only been in 2 serious ones my adult life. But just in these 2 relationships, I've learned that in order to have a good relationship, you got to go through the bad part. You're like, no one goes into. It's possible, but it's not likely. But no one starts a relationship and it be good and then it just be good.
It's good and
then
it's
just
good
forever.
No.
It'd be good at first because y'all be kind of blinded or y'all be like, oh yeah, like I like rubbing up against that. And then once you actually have to get to know each other, get to know the things that annoy you, get to know like all of the tics and shit.
Trials and tribulations.
That's when it'd be like, oh bro, like I'm bailing on this.
Yeah, but
you gotta learn, you gotta build, you gotta learn about you gotta learn about them, and then if you're still there, it's like, oh, actually I actually love this person.
And like we were talking about this over that lunch the other day. It's like, and I really feel like that is where your maturity is tested. You know what I'm saying? Where you can look at this person, look at the old you, the you that you're trying to be, I guess I should say, and you can maturely be like, yeah, I think it's about that time. Because the right person can be in your life the whole time.
Right.
But if you don't acknowledge them or that situation, whatever it is, then that is where, like, I guess the lack of maturity is. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll overlook it or look past it. You know?
It's just the easiest thing to do is bail on a turbulent situation, and also the easiest thing to do is not learn the lesson about yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people struggle. It's easy to project others' actions on them, or it's easy to project your insecurities on others.
Absolutely.
But the hardest thing to do is turn it around and look at yourself and do an inward reflection and say, oh, actually,
that man in the mirror moment.
She acts like this because I do this, or I did. Yeah, right. It's like, hey, like it's not all just the one thing. Yeah. It's me too. And to acknowledge your own faults and shortcomings is probably one of the hardest things you can do, and one of the most immature things you can do.
Yeah.
Learning stuff like that, going through the tough parts of relationship, you usually come out a more mature person. Now, of course, there's some situations that you do need to get the fuck away from. That's not saying like, hey, just because it's bad, stick it. It's like, no. Some shit kind of makes...
Some shit, there's red flags.
Direct
There's
sense.
red flags.
Hey,
like, you need not be with this bitch.
Right,
like,
right. Like, motherfucker putting their hands on you or cheating on you or making you look like an idiot. Like, don't power through that.
Time to give that one up.
So, how was it like going from freshly married, kind of like surprised married a little bit, to then becoming a father?
So, that's another thing. So part of that transition was into fatherhood. It was like at the time, like, oh God, like it will. If I talk about this long enough, it'll probably bring me to tears because now my daughter is such a huge part of my life. But at the time, I was like, I don't want to be a dad. I don't want to be a parent. Like like a kid means settling down and no more bitches, you know what I'm saying? Like, and no more running around and doing dumb shit, so like...
Unless you're Nick Cannon.
Unless you're Nick Cannon.
Right. I strive to be at that level. Continue.
It's like you don't want to let I had such an image of myself that I was like, I'm going to get bitches. When I like
that was your image.
That is, I'm going to be this new guy on the block and everybody's gonna be interested in me and it's gonna be cool and I'm gonna meet all these new people and these new people, there will be bitches, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be great. And like realistically, what's crazy about learning like that is like when you grow up, people have their own lives. Like, no one really gives a shit about you. No. That's a lesson you have to learn hopefully sooner than later. But you know what I'm saying? You're like, it's not like a movie. You know what I'm saying? You're like this lead actor that's been put in this film and there's a role that you're playing. No, it's just life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that reality is like, it's like I literally was pushing away some of the people that cared about me the most, this being Jennifer, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, like, I was like, I don't want to be a parent. Like being a parent means like life is going to be boring and this, that, and the other. And this image is like, I'm going to be the new fun guy, And I was like, it was not like that. And don't get me wrong, like I made friends and had a good time, but like when Nora was born, like I was still on the cusp. I was like, oh man, like I hear like people get divorced all the time. Like I don't want to do that, like, and so like it was one of those things where it's just like, I also never really had a good picture or model of marriage or a successful marriage for that matter in growing up. My mom's 68. Yeah. Never been married. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out Miss Buffard.
Miss Buffard, my mom. She's never been married. So like I didn't really have that good model. So I didn't really have anything to base it off of. And if you paid any attention to any kind of media, like the divorce rate is this, and what's fucking generation are we?
Millennials.
Yeah, millennials. It's like the millennial divorce rating is this, and da da da, and I was just like, well, why would I even want to go down that road if it all ends in failure? Why the fuck would I do that? And that is literally letting the media dictate your life, which is the dumbest thing you can fucking do.
Right.
So it's like I just basically fell into this panic.
Don't watch the news.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I didn't have any, I didn't believe I could do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
No faith in myself because no one else in and around my age group had been doing it. So I was like, now who am I to break the code, and fucking make it work?
So to briefly piggyback off of what you're saying, because I want you to finish the thought about parenting. I also was in the same boat. My mom turned 70. My mom is 70. I also never had a framework or blueprint of what marriage or even what having a dad was.
A lot of us didn't, man.
And up until last year, basically the excuse that I always had when people say hey, why don't you want a girlfriend? I don't think you want to settle down. And I'm like, I don't know what settling down looks like. I don't know what being
a dad. It is literally a foreign concept.
This just got knocked off of my list of most terrifying things, but marriage and kids were 1 and 2 most terrifying thoughts in my head. Because it feels like I'd just be walking into a meat grinder.
Bro.
And I'm just walking into it.
Bro.
And it's I don't know what the fuck to do here.
Bruh.
So it always was easy for me to use my dad not being there as an excuse to say, hey, and it was me not wanting to actually grow to that point. So I want to just blank project it on him. It's hey, he was an absent father. All I knew was my mom. I don't want to become like him.
You know what's
that's where I had been stuck in my mind all the way until last year. My dad passed this time, September 1st last year. And, while it wasn't, it wasn't devastating to me because we weren't that close.
Bro.
It sucks that my dad died, but I'm more sad about Norm Mcdonald dying and Michael K. Williams than honestly, I've given more reflection and thought to that. But him passing, and if any of my family members that I don't know watch this, I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. Cool, great, I'll move on. That allowed me to move past that excuse because now he's not here anymore. That's not even a relevant thing to talk about. So now I entertain the thought of, oh, you know what? I could be a dad. I could be a husband. I can settle down.
I think it's crazy it's so weird how certain things can have just the effects that certain things can have on. Because absent father as well. Never met this guy. Literally never met him.
Damn.
Yeah.
I at least knew the fella.
Never met him. But to I guess fast forward, whatever. Never meeting him, it's like one of those things where it's okay, I don't want to be like that guy. So I'm gonna try, because I did the same thing. I think you subconsciously did it because I didn't openly say my absentee father has had this effect on me, but it was exuded in my behaviors and my mannerism. Nah, bitch, I settle down. I ain't trying to do all that,
Right.
And what has happened is it's that overcorrection. I dislike this person so much that I'm gonna do my best to be as much not like it, the opposing thing. So now, bro, I am a full on dad now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that is years in the making. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, I was forget this guy. And settling down, that's for losers. Who wants to settle down? And now, it's just the examples of people that had dads in their life, and I am not just shade anybody, and I really don't want to, but I have friends that had their fathers in their lives, and I'm not gonna call them shitty parents, but they have multiple kids by multiple women, and all this other stuff, and it's I don't want to be that either. You know what I'm saying?
Unless I'm Nick Cannon.
But I was And this is really my thought process. And I was like, this person had their dad in their life, and he turned out this way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have my dad, and I'm like, I don't want to turn out like that either. It's like I'm gonna try and be the best, like the best model of what my image of a good dad would be.
Which
you know what I'm saying?
been what your dad would have been if you could.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy because like he was like, fuck the family that ever sees this, because I have half siblings that may or may not see this or whatever, and the oldest one, he was all about getting the family together, and I'm like, nigga, I don't know you, like I don't.
It's unfortunate,
and I don't like that notion. Like, I don't like split up families. Like, so it's really like it's the craziest thing because I overcorrected so hard. I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm doing it once and I'm doing it fucking right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's it. You know, like so.
That's how I feel about relationship. Like the relationship before the marriage should be looked at like that too. Yeah. You need to sift and sort through all the fuckery.
It's so big.
All the fuckery that you may inappropriate. All of the appropriate, inappropriate, you need to get it all out during a relationship. That's during the time where you need to get your bullshit out. And we ain't going to get too specific with the bullshit, but truly, you can't wait until you're married to start learning things about yourself learning about that bad or toxic energy. Yeah. Like, you know. And the relationship, you ain't supposed to be toxic either, but if you going to be that nigga, you need to get it out before you kneel down and ask somebody to spend the rest of your life with you. Because at that point, you're literally saying, I'm done. Yeah. Now, you should be done when you're in a relationship, too, and you need to get to a done point if you ain't. Yeah. But I know a lot of people that get married and then start learning about themselves. Or then start saying, like, I do like dark-skinned girls when I'm married light-skinned. Oh, I do like... And it's just like, wait, what? But you was doing before.
But you know what though, and this is to to extend an olive branch to anybody that has done that. That like the parenting thing, like the marriage thing. There's no, if you don't grow up with that example, if you don't have that, and call it training, it's really hard. And a lot of people make that decision, and well, I'm not going to call it a bad decision, but the unfortunate decision of getting into these relationships and then finding out about themselves later on down the road. But you don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? So people are, man, at the end of the day, I feel like people are trying to do the best they can with the information that they fucking have. You know what I'm saying? And that's really all anyone can really fucking do.
That's life, really.
You know what I'm saying? So like, to anybody that's in a relationship that is still trying to figure things out, hopefully they get there and the relationship perseveres. And if not, okay, but you're getting there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't knock it, but yeah, like sometimes it just happens that way. You know.
So like I was saying before about how me entertaining the thoughts of even getting married or having kids, another contributing factor of me feeling more comfortable about that is, as an adult in the recent years, I've actually gotten to see a blueprint of what a family looks like through Joe, through Gerald, through you, through my friend Drew out in Arizona. At this point, all of my friends have kids or married or about to be. I'm like the last one left.
I'm gonna tell you what did it for me, bro. It's the timeline. Like knowing kids when you're like young. Because kids, when you're an adult, you don't age. You age, but you don't physically like age. Like the difference between like your niece or nephew or cousin that's like 8 years old, and then you don't see them for a while, and like, that nigga's 16, he's driving, bro. And you still have this image of them being like the young kid that you're like hitting with a pillow and playing with, blah, blah, blah. And now they're adult, and I thought to myself, I was like, when we got pregnant with Nora, I was like, if I'm 27 now, by the time I'm 37, she'll be 10. Yep. And I'm like, you don't want to be that old parent. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
that's going to be me, unfortunately.
Well, but what I'm saying is, like, at the time, I was like, maybe it was good that we got pregnant then, because that was probably a good time. You know, it was good timing, you know? And Jennifer, I feel like Jennifer has lived this life before and knew all this shit. And just was like, I'm just going to do this shit. Like, and he's just gonna have to find out that I was right the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And this relationship needing to like kind of persevere and keep going because, like, I'm like, well, I say that she was like not on birth control and stuff like that because Nora came at a time when like I was like, you timed this. That was perfect. You chess playing like that. You outsmarted me. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, I was on birth control. How could I have possibly known? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
I think you knew. I think because everything has worked out in such a timely manner that where like Nora was the right age when we moved to Japan. And da 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 da. Like, and I'm like, ugh, like you lived this before because honestly things have lined up so well. Like now I have a son also. His name's Nigel, and now mind you, I've already turned the curve of like all that like that past life is over. Now like I'm full on dad now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like. This all, honestly, I mean, if you want to give testament to anybody, it all started with her being like, no, nigga, this is what you need to do. You need to grow up. Without saying it, without actually saying it, she's like, no, relationship, focus. You know what I'm saying? I was like, the whole time, like your grandma's trying to kiss you, like, no, like, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You like, and you finally like wake up and it's like, okay, maturity's tested. And you're like, all right, now I gotta. Okay,
guess this is what I'm doing now.
To briefly jump in, the two relationships I've been in my life helped me truly grow up and mature. When I was with Shavonna, I was 24, she was 22, something like that. 25, she's 23. She's far more mature than me. One of the most mature people I had met. And being with her, truly, in my early 20s, taught me how to be a man. I was a boy when I met her. And she taught me how to be a man. She was so organized and so mature that, like, I had to at least meet her halfway at that point, or she wasn't going to fuck with me.
That's such a good point, yeah.
So she helped me grow up and become more responsible. The relationship I'm in now is I'm becoming more mature, and through her, I'm learning a lot more mercy and a lot more like grace. Yeah. Anybody that knows me know that like I'm either happy with you or I'm pissed off with you, and like that's not a mature way to go about things. But I'm just a hot and cold person, and being with my girl now, she's seen every level of rampage mode that I have, and she's still here. She, you know what I mean, and she's still willing to like grow. And for me, especially living in Atlanta, it's kind of like a wake up call. It's like, hey, damn, like even if you're not ready, like you need to just go on and be ready, because who else you finna meet like this? That, you know what I mean, got her own shit going on, want to grow with you, know that you're like borderline and like know that you're a crazy person.
And still wants to deal. Like, that's the craziest thing, bro. Like,
so, I just wanted to say that like the two relationships that I have been in as an adult, I learned so much. And it's unfortunate that the first one didn't work out. It just was a little bit too early for me to make the next step. But I'm so glad that I got to be with Shavonna for the times that I was.
Because you learned what you were supposed to learn in that time frame. I think it was,
Her kids, are like my, to me, they like family to me. What I mean? Like, it's someone that it didn't turn out so bad that, like, we aren't still cool. You know
what, also? You said something I thought was so funny. Like, Jennifer's a nurse.
Yeah.
And I was like, why the fuck? It's literally, you talk about insecurities. Like, why would a nurse want to fuck with me? I don't have a job. At the time, like, I was just, that's what I'm saying. Like, girls, they love differently. They see it. You know what I'm saying? This nigga's got potential. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, and another big reason, contributing factor to, like, why I joined the Navy, I was like, well, if I get a job in the Navy, I'll have a career too. It's like my ego. It's like my ego's like, I don't want her to outshine me, so I'm gonna do something that she may look at and be like, this nigga got a job too. All right,
Yeah,
okay.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, be worth a damn. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of this stems from like this lack. I'm telling you, man. I'm getting into like mental health and stuff like that. A lot of this has stemmed from the absentee father or whatever, because you have to find your worth. You know what I'm saying? So another big reason or part of joining the military is like this will give me some validity. This will give me some value as a man. You know what I'm saying? As an adult male, like, cause when we went to fucking what was it, DC? Literally, a chick was like, "Hi, I'm so and so. What do you do?" Like, that is like how people approach you. Like in DC, now mind you, man, that may be like local to DC, but I remember like we were there, and at the age of like when the young people that we knew were now like the young professionals. They were moving into these new careers and jobs, and I was like, I don't do anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, or you try to impress them, like, oh, I do this, that, and the other. I used to like bullshit it or hype it up. But I was like, I work in fashion because I worked at Bloomingdale's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that sounds kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? But like, hey, I'm so-and-so, what do you do? You know, like, and I was like, God damn, like, your resume has to be on point.
Right.
Like, get it ready. Like,
It's like, hey, you supposed to say, hey, you cute.
Yeah.
Like, not what do I do?
Yeah, like
what's
back,
your sign?
back in the day, like it's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or like, yeah, like, or you cute? Like, blah blah blah. No, bitches were like, hey, I'm so and so. What do you do? And I was like, God damn, and it's intimidating. It is intimidating. You know what I'm saying? Because you think you're hot shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, yo, these bitches are on a different level. Like, they're grown up, and it was something kind of sexy and kind of about an adult female, like like that, like is professional, is on her shit, and I was like, and you kind of want a piece of it. So I was like, this bitch is a nurse. Like, I need to get something together. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't have much, but I can figure this shit out. Like,
I can at least join the Navy.
Yeah, I can at least join the Navy. They'll take me.
Well, like you say, being with somebody that you realize is somebody worthwhile, it makes you want to up your game.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
In the past 2 or 3 years, before I met my current girlfriend, I was just kind of out. I was just out here. I was out in the streets.
Well, that's all we all were doing.
I had, what I had for me was enough for me, and I wasn't too concerned with like building past that, because it's like, hey, bro, I'm doing just enough to have all the fun I want to have and some. Now, fast forward 3 years later, I feel like I need like times 4. I need to have what I have now. I need it like times 4 before I can move forward with someone else's life. So it's thoughts that like all kind of within the past year have become like, oh my God, Dan, like you got to do a lot, like you got to do more. But you got to like build.
I think what these women have done is they remove the ceiling. Like what it kind of does is like that image of yourself has a cap. You know what I'm saying? And when you get with the right girl, it almost like you could do this, like you say, you could do so much more. And they removed that ceiling, so you like.
Absolutely.
I don't. It's weird, but like.
I think that's a really good way to put it, and to kind of sum up this little.
Like it's crazy because like,
part.
bro, like we talk about buying houses and living in this place and living in this place, and it's really because like. I would not even be thinking about any of this shit if I wasn't with her, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But but because I am, it's like it's a possibility. Like we could actually go do this, and we just moved back. Now, mind you, the Navy did this, but we just moved back from Japan. Like that is not something a lot of people can say that they lived in a foreign country. Like now again, the Navy provided that, or they kind of created that opportunity. But like, I don't think I would have been as like I don't know. Like I still try to impress my wife with like my career. Like, babe, we could. Like my career could take us to Japan. Like what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like you not what you're doing, but like I still feel the need to like impress her in that manner where I'm like well there's a base in Spain.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We babe, like we could do that kind of stuff, and that is like a like on a huge scale. Like that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And like And when honestly, it's literally like it's getting selected for orders. Like I don't even do anything impressive.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? But like,
This is my job.
you know, like it broadens that ceiling because you wanna stay. It's almost competitive, but it's not a competition, obviously. But you know what I'm saying? You want to still do.
You need to woo your wife.
You want to woo them
you
in
can't.
some way, you know. So it's like you want to keep that thing where like I'm still worth a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It's weird to even say out loud like that, but like you want to still have some value to your spouse or partner. You know, so I don't know.
Otherwise, she's gonna be looking at you a few years like, damn, this was a mistake. I was wrong.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's that old nigga in me mentality. Like this bitch
I
gonna
can't
get
go
tired
back.
of me
But,
if
yeah.
I don't keep doing something. You know what I'm saying?
That's where I'm at with it. Just like, I have to implement several different things.
Yes.
Just for her to be like, oh.
And what does that do? It broadens your like you'll start being like, oh, I can do
I'm
this.
stepping outside the box.
You'll
Right.
you'll step out of the
Right.
box and you'll start doing.
Well, I'd be
everything.
looking like, man, my girlfriend can't be cooler than me. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? When we go places, they be like, okay, so what are you doing? She'd be like, oh, well, I do this and I work for this place and I X, Y, and I have this degree. And then like, what you do? You'd be like, I sell liquor.
Yeah. Shit. I work at the shoe store.
And I'll take a picture of you if you want to.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's just like,
Bro.
and so then they should be like, oh, so back to you.
Yeah. So
how'd you meet this guy?
Go get the
Like,
drinks.
what are you doing?
She'll
Yeah,
send
how'd
you over to go get the
we'll
drinks.
take 2
Yeah,
lemonades,
it's just-
Mr. Liquor.
yeah,
You
yeah.
work in a liquor store, right? We'll take 2 vodka, not get lits.
No, I think the right woman will bring out like the person that you really, the potential you can be. You know, so.
Look at us talking about relationships.
Which is crazy.
I know.
Damn
We said he wasn't gonna do
This
it.
conversation.
This will never happen again. We're only doing this because Neiman's here.
You know what's even funnier is I
We'll
did
let
not
you guys
know,
continue to talk about relationships every
I
goddamn
did not
week.
know that this was the turn that the conversation was gonna go on, Dan.
It's all right.
Fuck, like
It's all right.
But whatever. But I don't know, like.
Hey, man.
The response is gonna be, well, why niggas gotta have a woman change their mind? Why niggas gotta
Why can't you do it on your own?
Why can't you see your potential in
Right,
yourself?
and it's like, no. We're
I want to
saying
be a bum. I was cool with not wiping my ass.
Right.
Like, why I can't-
And the point in this little segment we just talked about is that like y'all have the power. Like you all ultimately have the power. We are just cavemen. We have muscles.
Yeah.
We have strength. We have the brute. You all actually possess
Got
the
the
power.
brains right here, baby.
And we would be nothing without you all.
So it's
to
a-
sum
yeah,
this
there you
up is that like women are the goats. Can we just accept that?
No, we've said it. We talked about it. Women mature
Faster.
fully at about like 35. But men take until about 47 years old. So I use that excuse all the time at home. Whenever I'm doing something
You're more
stupid.
mature than I am.
I'm like, well,
They
you
are.
already grown.
Right.
Like, what
Right.
you talking about?
All right, let's shift. Let's shift.
All right.
out of
Shift it,
this.
yeah, let's-
shift this.
Let's talk about where you've lived.
That's just what I was about to say. You've traveled a lot being in the Navy. What are the highlights of the places you've seen around the globe?
Okay, so places I've lived or gone. Well, we'll just.
Where did you go when you joined the Navy?
Yeah.
Whidbey Island, Washington, which is closer to Canada than it is Seattle. It's a little island off the coast of Washington, and it was great.
Explains this jersey.
Yes, yes, go Hawks. We play today,
Yeah, go Hawks.
but Seahawks. No, living in Washington was great because it was the first time I lived anywhere other than Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many things. Atlanta has a lot of things, but there's so many things that Atlanta doesn't have, like snow sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But snow you can use and go snowboarding. Like snow in Atlanta, it just shuts the
fun
city
stuff, yeah.
fucking down.
Right.
Like it's the worst. But
And you got to eat whatever Chinese food
Yeah.
happens to be
Yeah.
open. Whatever
Yeah.
Chinese place happens to be
But in
open.
places with mountains, when there's snow, it's like grab your gear and we can go and enjoy the snow, and that was great. And I was like, like in Seattle, it's just it's no better than Atlanta. It's just a different new like big city, So it's exciting, and there's little pockets of eateries here and different people there, and da 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 da. So it was just nice to be in a different place, and like any new thing, like new car, new relationship, new whatever, it's like the honeymoon phase of anything. It's like, man, this is the best I've been drinking this water and now I'm drinking this water. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just new. So it's like, I've been living in Atlanta for so long. Like, I'm in a new city. So everything is just exciting and it's cool and it's fun. You know, and
the football team's better. And I'm just.
Oh, you're a smart man. Look, Neiman went from Atlanta Falcons fan to Seattle fan overnight, and that's the second smartest move you ever made in your life.
So,
first smartest move was the Navy. The second was second was me and Jennifer. Third was abandoning the Falcons because you motherfuckers.
Matt Ryan.
I mean, y'all can still sponsor us or whatever.
We were talking about this on the way here. The plain and simple version of it is been the absentee father thing keeps rearing its head. It's like, I didn't have that father figure that always rooted for the Colts or the Jaguars or this, that, and the other. My dad's a this fan, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? We're pregnant now. Having a kid starts the tradition. Where do you live? I live in Seattle. Well, I don't live in Seattle, but I live in Washington. What's the team in Washington? Fucking Seahawks. No matter how good or bad they were doing, it's just like the bandwagon, it was then. Like, we're just going to jump on. Oh, damn, they lost. Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? Fuck it. And, like, this is kind of like how the tradition starts, I guess, or at least this is the best way I know how to do it. Mm-hmm. So ever since we were, like, the notion of having Nora was there, like, it was like, we need a team to get behind. We're living in Washington. Seattle Seahawks is going to be it. And literally, that was the thought process. Like, where do you live? I live in Washington. That's the team I'm going to root for. It didn't matter the coach. It didn't matter the team, like the players. Like, I wasn't that big of a football fan before then. So it was like, why not start it now? And ever since then, it's been go Hawks. Go Seahawks. And
what year was Nora born?
2015.
Right, and they just conveniently happened to be the
They
Super Bowl champions
in 2014.
Yeah, they just happened to have won the Super Bowl that year too.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, they beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
No, the Patriots beat
them. They
were
defeated in 2014.
Right. But they had beaten Peyton Manning 2014 or 13. Anyway, yeah.
Let's go. No.
It's cool. It's cool.
Either way,
yeah, blame it on Nora.
This was on like places we lived. Okay, so after Washington, we moved to Point Mugu, California, which is like one of the Navy's best kept secrets because it's not the very big bases. Like the big bases, they're crowded and it's this traffic and stuff like that. Point Mugu is literally next door neighbors to Malibu. Malibu, like. The Malibu that everybody talks about, all the celebrities live, Kim Kardashian and all that bullshit. Yeah. Like, Malibu was down the road. Like, I literally went, like, the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, I took that to work. Like, so you're right next to Ventura County and what the fucking... Santa Monica, you know what I'm saying? Like, Santa Monica Pier was down the road, literally, and...
Venice Beach.
Yeah, Venice Beach, Muscle Beach, all that shit was right there.
All the shit on Tony Hawk.
Right.
And LA was far enough away that you don't have to deal with the traffic, but it was close enough that if you wanted to go, you could. Like,
you just shoot straight down
the 5. Or the PCH. But either way, like, Point Mugu was great, But to back up a little bit, while I was in Whidbey, I went on a deployment to Japan, and I got a taste of Japan. I was like, yo, Japan is fucking dope,
Yeah.
So I was trying to get back to Japan at the time and ended up in Point Mugu. And was great because I met some friends, now lifelong friends. My buddy, last name's in the military. His name's Flournoy to me. Y'all will know him as Tyler because first names. But yeah, him and his wife, now lifelong friends. Literally like aunt, or they call them Tito and Tita for Nora. You know what I'm saying? Like, so met them in Point Mugu. Still trying to get back to Japan, and I got in good, but I met the manpower is basically the people that say, you go here, you go there. Got in good with the manpower guy. I was like, hey, I'm still trying to get to Japan. What can you do for me? He was like, you really want to go? Because a lot of motherfuckers say they want to go. And then it's like, you're about to go and you be away from everything familiar, all your friends and family, blah, blah, blah. So you sure you want to go? And I was like, yes, because I haven't mentioned this yet, but I'm a car nut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, the only way I can buy a Skyline is if I go to Japan.
Yeah, right.
So like,
and you bought one, right?
Yeah, I kind of did. You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
kind of did.
Kind of bought the car.
He just paid for the wheels and the chassis. He's paid for the rest later.
Yeah. So I was like, Jen, the only way I can buy one is if we go to Japan.
Lord
and
Jesus.
she was just like, like, again,
Right.
I got to deal with this dumbass, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, this nigga. But she was like, all
talking
right.
about buying Hot Wheels and shit.
Not any, I'm not going to say nothing of value, but no, like, I'm still like that inner child where it's like you don't want, you've made this mature decision. You don't want to buy a house now and start thinking about our future. We do have a child. You want to go across the world to buy a car. Again, she's looking at me and like, he's still got potential. He's just a dumbass. You know what I'm saying? He's still a car guy. You know, so like okay, fine, we'll go. Gave up a really great job in California and moved with my dumb ass to Japan. And the Navy took us there, and that was great, you know. And it wasn't all just for the car though, because I went there because I wanted to buy the car, but two, I wanted to experience. Because in the Navy, you get to visit a lot of places, but visiting these places is not immersing yourself in the culture, you know? So, like, you get a little snapshot of it, you know? Like, in a clip of what Malaysia is and Thailand is and this, that, and the other. But you don't live amongst these people. So when you go and you are stationed somewhere, I drive the car that they drive. My neighbors are Japanese. Like my mailman is Japanese. My grocery store, the lady that checks me out, everything's Japanese. So it's like I wanted to get all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, the only way to do this and buy the car is to move to Japan. So we're doing that. And she was like, fuck, all right, fine. So now, and then we went, and Nora speaks her first 3 years of structured like education was Japanese. So culturally, Nora is more Japanese than she is American.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like,
and how she was a baby?
She was 3. She was 3 when we moved.
She was 3.
Yeah.
So she knew. She already was saying some.
Yeah.
You know, toddler talk.
Yeah.
But now she could speak Japanese.
Yeah, and what's cool about kids
That's
and
nice.
learning languages is kids don't even appreciate that they're learning a new language. They're just
learning.
They're
just trying to communicate.
They're just trying to communicate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my teacher's talking to me and all this da-da-da-da-da, and I have to receive it and give it back to him so I can communicate with her, blah, blah, blah. So, like, and I was like, Jennifer was like, you don't want her to go to, like, the what do you call it, the international school where they teach English, they teach everything in English, and they have, like, a Japanese this, you know? Right. And I was like, no. To the Japanese wolves she will go, and she'll figure it out. And sure as shit, she speaks Japanese now.
Can you speak Japanese?
Nihongo skoshi. You know what I'm saying? Like, that means I speak a little Japanese.
Yeah.
You know?
You can speak can she speak more than you?
Way more. Because it's 100%.
That's nuts.
Nihongo ga skoshi wakarimasu means, like, I speak a little Japanese, you know, like, enough to... Basically, like, when you're a tourist, you want to learn how to order food.
Yes.
Get directions, and, like, casually say, like, how you doing? You know, like, kind of thing. That's where I'm at. Nora...
Or learn how to say fancy I fuck. How do you say fancy a fuck in Japanese?
I have no idea. But Nora's
That's
like...
a polite way to say it, right?
Her day-to-day was all Japanese. Like, if this... not this conversation, but her conversations... in school, 100%. Every student in her school, with the exception of like 3 military kids, were all Japanese. So it's complete immersion, you know, and that's what I wanted.
When she talks now, can she straight switch, or does she stumble? Does she kind of stumble sometimes and say stuff in Japanese?
It's not she stumbles and says things in Japanese. She says things the way they structure things in Japanese. Yeah. So the best sentence, the most common or, you know, used sentence I use to kind of explain it is, if I was to say, Dan, where is the toilet? Like in Japanese, they say toilet, where is the? Like, and it's just so in English, she tries to say things the way they structure things in Japan. Mm-hmm. So she says, like, I want to go to the toilet because, like, she'll say the because after, you know, or whatever. And it's not anything that is, like, irreparable. Like, I can't, like, turn it around. But she is more, like I said, more Japanese than she is American.
She is going to be so smart just from that.
Yeah,
Two things that I didn't do that I definitely will make my kids do, and I'm not going to try to live through my kids because I definitely will want them to do whatever they want to. But I don't give a fuck how advanced screens and you can just think about it and this and no, my kid gonna read because I've noticed 2 consistent things in people. Everybody I know that is a reader is extremely intelligent and successful, and everybody I know that can speak a foreign language is successful. It just seems like those two things are only positives. There's no negative to learning a new language.
Nope.
There's no downside to reading. Now you might read some book. You might decide to pick up a book you ain't got no business reading. But man, it's just two things that I can speak a little Spanish, but it's just like I kick myself for not allowing myself to broaden my mental horizon to where I can go to different places and be like, oh well, I know Spanish because I learned it for 12 years in school, but I don't know shit. Bro, I couldn't speak more than just the common thing.
When you're in high school, man, I took Spanish because I was like there's a cute girl in that class.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate it,
No.
And what I've learned now, I would switch the tone of the conversation to being American. Most foreign countries, foreign to us, most people speak a second language. You know what I'm saying? The average foreigner to us, it speaks their native language and English. You know what I'm saying? So it's
English is a big part of a lot of
So I'm like,
nations.
God damn it! In a 34-year-old trying to pick up a new language is a lot more difficult than a 5 and 6-year-old because you've only been speaking English for you just Google gobble, you know what I'm saying, until you're about one and a half, 2.
Year or two.
You know what I'm saying? So
English.
so now you're gonna just go this. Both languages are gonna grow and so that's why I was to the Japanese wolves she will go, and she'll fucking figure it out. And Jennifer was hesitant. She was because it's hard. Bro, you ever been to a parent-teacher conference in a completely different fucking language? It is. You're just I heard that word.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to hire a translator, and it's a triangle conversation. I want to make sure she's learning, and the kids aren't picking on her. Tell her that, and she'll fucking translate, and I'm like, all right, I want to pick up on your dialogue and you'll make sure you ain't saying nothing slick that you know what I'm saying? There's all that paranoia, they're talking about me this whole time. You know what I'm saying? So it's huge, man. Learning a different language. Trevor Noah said it. He was you'll never waste your money traveling. Travel. Immerse yourself in fucking and in other cultures and step outside the normal box, that American box that we all live in, and experience something different. So that was me trying to, again, overcorrect and be the best dad I can. I'm I'm going to expose you to this. And this,
as Americans, we have the privilege of not having to learn other people's language where
true.
they have to learn ours. And we have the privilege of not expanding our horizons because we live in this cookie cutter perfect setting. America about as much on blast right now than it's ever been, and I'm happy for it because this country needs a complete overhaul.
But that in itself breeds its own level of arrogance. It's you know what, you're in my country, learn my language, blah blah blah. And it's in other countries, they're well, I know my native language, but English is a very prevalent language around the world, so I'm going to learn that too.
Right.
Whereas we're no, you need to learn English. Speak
as Americans, we're in a position that if we never travel, it's just fine because we're in America. Yeah. Whereas if you live in India or if you live in Pakistan, or you might want to travel permanently away from your home. You know what I mean? So we have so many privileges just being born here that it's easy for us to be well, I've seen pictures of Thailand, but I don't need to go there. Yeah. Whereas I've seen pictures of Africa, but fuck, I'm going there for. Dude, I'm not going to go there. I'm American. I just stay here.
Just being in the military, bro, I appreciate being an American so much more because the military is comprised of all different nationalities and races and this and that. And citizenship, bro, it is something we take for granted. And it is a very lengthy process for foreigners to get citizenship here in the United States. And it has value, and I'm I was born with this, I woke up whatever,
right.
I already got this shit, what are you talking about? And I'm and when you make friends with people and you hear about the struggles that they're going through to gain this thing that you did nothing other than be born to get, it's just God damn, they're making you do that? Yeah. It costs that much? Yeah. You've been doing this for how long? Holy shit, so... Yeah, man, you just appreciate things. I think that's also with growth and maturity. When you're younger, you don't think about shit like that.
Oh, yeah. So what's the favorite? What's your most favorite place you've traveled? Is it Japan?
It's got to be Japan. The car
Yeah.
scene there is amazing. It's everything you've ever heard of or seen in any kind of video or Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
Like it is like that. Daikoku Futo is a parking area that like car guys or actually car people like myself go and congregate and hang out and do this and that and the other. And it's like right now in Japan, there's something going on in Daikoku. Like there's always the car culture there is second to none. Like it is the best car culture that I've got a chance to experience. I didn't get a chance to experience car culture in Atlanta because I was broke when I lived here.
Right.
So I didn't have a car. Like I just had friends with cars. My friend Mike and Will, like these guys. Will Rooks, remember Will Rooks?
Yeah, he used to drive the.
He had a Celica.
A Celica.
Yeah. And like, man, those guys.
Damn, I hadn't thought of that guy since high school.
Bro, and yeah, like all these guys that I used to hang out with that had cars, I was just the broke guy that that was into cars.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I joined the military that I actually made it a reality. Like I bought my first car when I was in Washington. We didn't even touch on that, but yeah, like the my favorite place though, the Japan, and it is. And not just the car culture, the culture, Japanese culture
I was about to
is
say.
really, really nice. Also, it's an interesting culture, and I say interesting because you have to get used to it,
Right.
the cultural norms that we are not familiar with or used to. But the food is great.
I was about to say,
Japan,
what's the food like?
The country is beautiful. Like some of the, oh my god!
I'm about to ask an ignorant question.
Please.
I'm gonna ask it. What is it like being black in Japan?
Being black in Japan it's weird because you don't get for a fair complected guy like myself, you don't get labeled as the black guy in Japan that's also in the military. You're just the American that lives in Japan. You know what I'm saying? You're the military guy that lives in Japan.
Right.
Like I'm sure you could probably get a better, more accurate response to what it's like to be black in Japan from somebody, and I'm not saying that I wasn't black in Japan, but someone that went there as a civilian, you know what I'm saying? And that has to deal with, like, because we have like a pocket of America in Japan.
Right.
So like everybody on base speaks English, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's I hate when people are like, man, you went to Japan, you don't speak it fluently. And I'm like, you got to think, like, everywhere in Japan, they speak Japanese. But that little pocket, that base, well, there's several, but like that base that I live, everyone speaks English. So you don't, if you live on base, that's why another thing, I wanted to live off base. Like I said, my neighbors were Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
My mailman was Japanese. My delivery guy was Japanese. When you live out in town, you get the full immersion. When you live on base, it's literally like living in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a U.S. territory. So I can't really give you that, and I don't even want to intrude or encroach on like who on who could give you a better.
I just wonder what happens if I take my big black ass over to Japan and just start trying to meet people and being like, hey, like, what's up?
So
fancy a fuck?
So
I just say, como se dice fancy a fuck? Oh, that's Spanish.
So
okay.
in the girl realm
just
of
kidding,
it,
Morgan.
in the girl realm of it, like I've had friends that have done very well. Like had a good old time, in Japan. But on the like flip side of it, there is, and I'm not gonna say it's a prejudice, but it is it's not because I hate even using the word. It's not racist out there. It's more of a prejudice of like you are a foreigner. Yeah. It's not you're black.
Right.
It's not you're white.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're not Arabic or Malaysian or Argentinian.
You're from across the pond.
You're just not from here. Yeah. So the Japanese, like, and it's also not everybody. Not everybody in America is a bad person. You know what I'm saying? Everyone in Japan is not like that. So like you'll experience if you ever go, and I encourage you to do it. You'll experience Japanese people are very like to themselves. You could like drop something on the ground, and then in the United States or in somewhere you'd be like, oh shit, let me help you out with that. Most Japanese people just be like it didn't happen to them because they stay to themselves. Yeah. But that's not to be rude or inconsiderate. That's just their culture. You know what I'm saying? But then there are other Japanese places like because they have different areas of Japan. Like it's not all one place where like this is a good example. Like where I lived in Kanagawa, the prefecture Kanagawa, 2:00 in the morning. At a red light, no cars, no traffic on the road, people stop and wait for the green light, the little the thing to tell them to walk across the street. Whereas if ain't no cars, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to cross the street. You know, I got to get where I'm going to go.
Nigga, the car not finna wait for the
That's what I'm saying. Like, that is such a cultural difference. Like, that example alone, I'm like, they're really waiting for the permission to go across the street.
It seems like in that part of the globe, rules are optional.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas here in America,
it's like a suggestion.
We're so free. And you know, that's the difference between a democracy and like Japan's not a dictatorship, is it? I think they might be.
They might be, I don't know.
But that's the difference between like a democracy and a dictatorship is like in a democracy, rules are left for interpretation. And then we end up in the clusterfuck that we're in right now.
Yeah.
While we look like the dumbest fucking people on the planet, and we probably are.
Yeah.
Whereas over there, rules are not an option.
This is what you're going to do.
You follow the rules, and then if you break the rules, you're going to face a consequence.
Yeah, but you know what? And
I'm not saying that I strive for a dictatorship, but there's got to be some healthy balance between this pretend shit that we're doing in America and then that very strict structure that they have across the pond.
But okay, so I got a
parliamentary system.
What's that?
They're in a parliamentary system,
right? Which is like a
constitutional monarchy.
Okay, so
which also ain't good.
So in Kanagawa, the prefecture that I lived in, that's how it was. But I went down to visit my buddy in Osaka, and it's so weird the things I took pictures of, because I was like, there's a guy and there's a picture of the light being red and he's still crossing the street. So there's clearly a difference in where you live, like how things are in New York aren't the way things are in California.
Yeah.
So same country, just different, different areas or whatever. So I say that to say all of Japan is not like that.
Okay.
So don't like if you go to Osaka, which I think honestly is more tourist friendly than Tokyo is, and where I lived, because if I remember correctly, Osaka used to be the capital of Japan, but then Tokyo became the capital. Mm-hmm. So all the years that like the capital was the touristy place to go, that has stayed in Osaka, and now it's like now this is the capital. So all that stuff is still here, but now Tokyo is the capital. And like so some places in Tokyo, you'll go and they don't speak English. Literally every restaurant we went to in Osaka, hey, can we get an ego menu? Ego is how you say English in Japanese. Mm-hmm. Ego menu, doko desu ka? Like, where's the English menu? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, well, then the guy will respond in English. And I was like, oh, sweet. I don't even have to, do it. So this is like a travel tip. If you get a chance to go, Tokyo isn't the only place to go in Japan. Like, Kanagawa Prefecture, that's where Yokohama is and Tokyo is the more popular places. But Osaka and Kyoto, beautiful. Also, like, extremely scenic. Like, all the fucking torii gates and castles you can imagine, and some of the like nice restaurants and stuff like that. And like I said, it's more tourist friendly because you don't realize the like how great it is to be like, hey, I'd like a fucking sandwich, and someone be like, okay, you want pickles, lettuce, mayo, tomato, you go down in some places and you're like, God, I just want that chicken. How do I say chicken? You know what I'm saying? You gotta like, and they're like, you they don't speak your language. Communication, we not ignore, but we overlook the value of being able to effectively communicate because the language barrier in fucking Japan is huge. Like some 12 years of Spanish in high school, you can kind of figure out taco. You know what I'm saying? Like, burrito. Like whatever. Pollo, that's chicken. In Japan, like the language barrier is huge, so it's like you gotta really appreciate a place where they're like, "Oh, I speak English too." So like the scene in what was it? Was it Karate Kid, where he got the guy was like the kid was trying to talk to him, and he's like, "Dude, I'm from Chicago," and it was like,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? That is so like it's like a breath of fresh air when I can be like, "Oh, thank God," you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to use this broken ass Google translated. Probably Webster's version of Japanese that I'm learning to just say I want some French fries, or I want some fucking ramen, So Osaka's really nice. To put it plain, Osaka's really nice. Tokyo's great also, but there are other places in Japan that are really awesome.
So you spoke on the cars. What kind of cars do you have? How many? And what's your favorite?
I have several cars now. Mm-hmm. My last and most awesome addition to the fleet, I guess.
These
collection.
Plants here were sourced from Osaka, Japan.
Is that right?
Yeah,
right. That's why I sat over here.
Yeah,
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Even though I said something different the first episode.
I bought.
Go check it out if you haven't.
I bought a Nissan Skyline R34 GTR V-Spec 2.
A Nissan?
That's how they say it in Japan. It's not.
I got a
Nissan.
Nissan. I got a Nissan.
You got a Nissan.
Yeah.
A Nissan.
I got a
Ultima.
I got a basic. Yeah. I got a Nissan baby mama car.
Yeah, so I bought a Skyline, and that is also another thing. Jennifer, like, I was like, babe, if I don't buy one now, I'll never be able to buy one. So you literally got to put all your chips on the table and like just go all in and just deal. And she was just like, oh God, like this nigga just don't want to buy nothing of any value, like a house, like come on, like. And she's inadvertently has gotten into cars because she's with a car nut. You know what I'm saying? Like Morgan will probably be more into podcasts now because you have a pod. You know what I'm saying? Like you are the company you keep rubs off on you. So. That is
he said, Morgan, I'm dating a guy, by the way. Try to keep it vague,
but like, it's one of those things that it's rubbed off. So she has appreciated and gotten into some of the car culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that is the last car that I bought. I'm super proud about that. I was super happy about it. How I like, dude, if I told you the story about how I got that car, you wouldn't even believe me. Like, it's crazy. But like before that, we bought, I have an Evo 10.
And what's that?
A Mitsubishi Evolution 10.
Okay.
I have an S2000. That's my track car.
That's your baby.
Yeah,
that's your OG baby.
That's the first car I ever bought with my own money, so that one means a lot to me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which is crazy because that's the one that I'm like, Jennifer, that is not the least expensive, but of the three, that's the least expensive car. It makes the least amount of power. That's the one. Like, just don't drive that one. She could drive the Skyline. She's driven it 100 times, you know what I'm saying? We've driven it all over Japan. She drove the Evo, no problem. I'm like, babe, can you not drive this one? She's just like, well, you won't let me drive the S2000. I'm like, you've driven all the more expensive cars. Why the fuck do you care about this one?
My Honda.
It's because you told her don't drive.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I have two other like little, like I call them lunch boxes, little Honda Civics. They're the RT all-wheel drive wagons. If you don't know about them, you won't because they're little like. So
you have 5 cars, is what you're telling me?
I had to sell my Forester because they wouldn't let me bring it back to the States. And we have 5.
Where do you put these cars?
They're all in Washington right now with good friends, Rob, that tolerate my bullshit because when you're in the military, man, because every place you live is temporary, you acquire shit, in my case, cars, and you can't just tote a car with you, you know what I'm saying? So you have to put them places.
Somewhere.
So the 2 Civics, my S2000, my Evo, and then my GTR. And I think that's it for cars. I want to buy Jennifer a car, which is I'm going to get her a car that I like. So I didn't buy another car. I got her another car. Right. So it's kind of mine, but not really, and then we want to buy a truck, something to like, something.
A family whip.
Yeah. Kind of like a family whip,
I bought my girl the gun that I actually wanted.
Yeah.
Buying myself a gun. I bought myself a gun in 2020, and then I bought her a gun this year for Valentine's Day. But really, like, it's my gun.
Yeah, exactly. So
don't tell her that.
Yeah, she knows.
I want to get her another car because I want to get I buy now. Don't get me wrong, like some of the cars are kind of expensive, but my Civics. Like my Civic cost $2,500. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was built in '91. So it's old. It doesn't have I still have to crank my windows. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I absolutely love that car. But when I buy her a vehicle, like when we left California, unfortunately, her TL, I got her an Acura TL, great car, love that car. Found it on OfferUp, and it was a great car, but it was safer. It had airbags. It had ABS, things that modern day cars just come with. And I was like, I want her to have the nicer, safer vehicles, you know what I'm saying? Because she carries the kids in it with her and stuff like that. So, and that car actually it didn't make it sound dramatic. It got totaled, but somebody just hit her, you know what I'm saying? But because of the amount of the repairs, the insurance company just totaled it out.
The car is old enough.
Yeah.
Any accident.
Yeah, they were just like, it's totaled out. And I was like, you fucking suck because that car was great, blah, blah, blah. But she had a TL in California, because she drove the Evo when we were in Washington. And then when we got to California, Point Mugu, she drove the TL. It got into an accident. Not to sound like a dick, but like when she got into an accident, it was kind of perfect timing because we had to move all the cars to Washington. And so we shipped drove 2 of them, shipped 1, and at the time we only had 3.
Right.
So that worked,
Right.
With
you had 1 car back in
So when we had the 4th car, we would have had to ship another. We had to ship another one, which would have costed more or whatever. So like it was one of those times. With me, I probably wouldn't have sold it. It was a great car. Yeah. So, but it was perfect timing. And so I was like, oh well, when we get back, like when we got to Japan, I actually rode my bike and a scooter for the longest time because I was like, I need to focus and save money. So what will be the cheapest? Because I was like, I've been wanting this car for so long. Like now that I'm in the place and position to get it, I need to focus. So I got her a Forester, very safe, good on gas. It can accommodate our family. Wife's good to go. Now I need to focus. So I saved my money and bided my time, and it was like the right opportunity knocked. And when I tell you, like the right opportunity knocked, it was the perfect time for me to be where I was in the mind state, or the mind frame that I was at, and I met this guy, and he was like, if you'll buy that one for that much, just buy mine. And I was like, I won't look any further. Like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And he actually he called my bluff. He was like, you're not really going to buy this car. And I was like, I'm going to the bank today. You know what I'm saying? Do not. I moved my family. Like, and then the thought was like, if I don't buy this car, we would have came to Japan for nothing. Sounds a bit strong, but in my mind, I'm like, we would have came for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I have to buy it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, we got to do
like
it.
Carpe diem. The memories is one thing, but this tangible thing is a whole other thing.
The car is back. And if you're into car culture, man, like a lot of the YouTubers that are out there right now, I've been and done a lot of the things that they do. I'm just not talented enough to put it on fucking YouTube. Like, all the spots in Japan that if you are into this stuff, you watch people drive and go to. I've been to all of them. Every PA, like, what I'm saying, Tatsu, all these places, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like, you do it in that's the car to do it in. You know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, they have this thing in Japan where it's kind of like, or if you want to drive, like, if you're just pining to drive like a really cool car, you can go rent a Porsche or this or that or whatever. And Jennifer, like, being the great wife that she is, she's like, babe, you want to go rent a Skyline? We can go rent one. And, and I was like, no. If I feel like that's money taken away from the one that I could actually buy. Right. And the one that I buy, the one that I drive is the one I want to buy. So I don't want to drive anything until it's mine. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like blinders on. And again, the right opportunity came up, and I kind of jumped on it. And even how it's getting back to the country is even crazy. Like, I could go down that road, but that's a long story. So like, it's basically getting shipped to Canada, and it's going to live there with my Canadian relatives that I've acquired. So I can come back to, because they're not legal in the United States yet.
So you're just going to go scoop it from Canada and drive
Pretty much, so
that sounds like a fun little trip.
Yeah, being with a car person has added a lot of, like, experiences, because you do things that are car related that otherwise you would not have a chance to do or have a reason to do. Like, who wants to go to Calgary? It's cold as shit there, you know what I'm saying? But that's where the car's getting shipped, so.
Well, you're in Atlanta now.
And I love it.
And how long are you going to be? How long you're just here temporarily, right?
I have a school that I have to go to in Pensacola, and it starts October 1st. So I'm basically, a week or so. And and I was like, you know what?
And this episode will drop like in November.
Okay, so
it don't matter, right?
And because it's only a couple hour drive, and I was like, you know what? I have some time where I'm on this side of the country for once in the last, 10 or so years. Like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try and hang out with some friends and stuff before I have to go to school. And because I'll be in school in Pensacola, I'll be back and forth, but until like February, March-ish. Mm-hmm. So, and then we move to San Diego. Like, that's my next duty station.
Okay.
So that's where I'll be stationed. But right now,
were you there before?
No.
You were where in California?
Point Mugu.
Okay, right.
Point Mugu, which is like 3 hours up the coast.
North.
Yeah. So, well, it's still Southern California, but it's north of San Diego.
Right.
Oxnard, yeah.
Because y'all went out there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that. You guys, Joe came to fucking visit in fucking California while we were there, and that was cool. Like, one of the few friends that have been like, and I've said this since day one, I was like, when I'm there, Nigga, the door is open.
Yeah.
There is a couch for you to sleep on. Bring whomever, come and let's do it. And like Joe came to California, Joe and his wife and his daughter at the time.
And pregnant.
Like,
she was pregnant.
Yeah, she was pregnant. So it was just Zoe at the time. Came to California, and then my boy Flanoy, who I met in California, I was like, they actually came to Japan. Jenny and Flanoy came to Japan. And was like, nigga, you said we could come and stay. Nigga, we coming. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
didn't make it to Japan. I had plans. I almost made it. I got my passport.
yeah. And so like anywhere I go, to this day, you know, I'm like, we need at least a spare bedroom because if the niggas come, we gotta have a place to put them up. You know, so yeah, like to this day, man, wherever I'm at.
Let's take it back a second. Let's talk about this couch. You still have that same couch? From
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yes, bro. So
No.
listen, Neiman told me he still have a couch, the TV stand,
TV and the dog.
and most importantly, Belvedere is 15. How old?
16 years old.
16 years old.
Yeah.
And Belvedere look good. Did you see Belvedere?
I haven't seen him yet. No.
Bro,
He probably look better than my dog.
Belvedere look good.
Bro.
And I said it before in a previous podcast. I think maybe me and Akil somebody. When we went to that Nora's birthday party and Belvedere ran up to my ankles, I thought it was a ghost. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I thought you would have been. I just thought Neiman ain't tell us that you know what I mean?
No, he's still with us, man.
Belvedere is still
But
alive
Jennifer
and kicking.
literally is like, all right, I've tolerated this couch for long enough. We moved back from Japan. She's like, that's going to go in a man cave or
the dumpster.
the dumpster.
The dumpster. Why is it? We inherited.
Because I'm cheap.
How much DNA is on that couch?
Oh, shut up.
I just want to know.
Inherited that couch
With Belle.
in 2006,
Yeah.
2007.
Yeah.
Jennifer's like, but I told her, I was like, well, next place we get, you buy, as long as it's got a 2-car garage at minimum, I don't give a fuck what you buy. Like before we left, because it was an anniversary gift, we went to this this Japanese like antique shop like / furniture store. And I was like, babe, whatever you want, buy it. I don't care. And she was like, oh, we're about to leave. And I was like, if we time it right, we can just have them ship it to the house and they'll just put it in our household goods and ship it back, so you don't have to pay for it. You know. So I was like, because if you buy some nice furniture from another country, you have to get it shipped back over, and that can be really expensive, and that can deter you because of the cost. So I was like, if we buy it and just put it in household goods, they'll fucking ship it. The Navy doesn't give a fuck, you know, blah blah blah. So I bought her this really really nice fucking. It looks like a set of stairs. It's like a shelf or something. Whatever she wanted. I was like, when we go to wherever we're going, buy whatever furniture you want. Buy a new bed, new couch, new this, new that. Because
she's earned it.
She's definitely fucking earned it. Like she's earned it. So like, I hope she doesn't overcompensate for the lack of good furniture we've had for the last 10 years. But like, she's basically like, I'm like, go ahead. As long as I have a garage, I don't really give a shit, honestly. You know.
So what do you think about Atlanta since being away for so long?
Oh, Atlanta! Like I was telling Joe, I was like, it's like being a proud dad. Like my city has grown up. Like it is.
He's the only nigga who like it.
I like it.
Well, he likes it because he doesn't know the dynamics of it.
I like it.
He don't know the good. He just sees the good. He don't know the bad.
I just see the good. I like it because I see Atlanta growing. Like bro. I know it sounds fucked up, but there are white people on the west side.
I know it's terrible, right?
It's
It's gonna just be white people all
over
the place.
It ain't gonna be no black people.
It ain't gonna be no niggas in Atlanta left.
It's crazy. Like I was like, I told Jennifer. Jennifer grew up in Gwinnett. Well, yeah, she grew up. She has family in Decatur, but she grew up in Gwinnett. You know what I'm saying? Her white shows more than the black most of the time. Either way, I was like, Jennifer, you don't understand. This is progress. It's hard to say progress because it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But I was like, there were no white people on the west side. Like on my mom's street, like you see white people walking.
Oh yeah.
Like that belt line. I think the belt line is the coolest thing in the world because it bridged the gap from neighborhoods that there are.
So now the hoods are tourist spots for white people.
Yeah.
Like,
so and like again,
and we are in the way.
Yeah. Like
truly,
I'm looking at
that's the bad of it,
and the good of it, and I'm like, oh, there's money coming to this neighborhood. Like the Beltline literally bridged a gap from a neighborhood that I otherwise would have had to walk like 30 minutes if I wanted to get to this other neighborhood. it would have taken me 30 minutes to an hour to walk around and how the city is shaped or whatever. And it literally just cuts through all. I was like,
unless you finna walk through the woods.
Yeah, I've never even been on this street. Like, this is crazy. And she's like, how you grew up on the west side? I was like, shut up. Like, don't give me those.
There's no reason to have been on the street unless I wanted to get shot.
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't even know. I didn't know anybody on the street. I didn't even know how to get to this road. But now the Beltline is there, and it's like, you can cross MLK and go straight to Washington Park. Like, I was like, this is so nice.
It's a fucking bike lane on MLK.
Bro.
I drove down there to get him. I was like, where the fuck did this come from?
Where's the second lane? Like, I can't pass nobody because it's one lane now because they extended the fucking, the bike lane and the sidewalks. Now there's like a nice median. And I was like, it looks so nice. And then Mike was like, bro, you don't want to go around in Atlanta, bro. Niggas getting shot, you know what I'm saying? The crime has gone up. And I was like, God damn. In Buckhead, yeah.
We were looking at that today. We were looking at my wife gets on what's the shit? Some shit online where you can look at the scores for different cities, like what they get for like crime and shit like that. So the West Side now has a C in crime.
That's probably leagues above the.
Buckhead has an F.
Yeah, Buckhead is literally the bad part of town now.
That's crazy.
And you would that was the old saying used to be, this Buckhead, not Bankhead. And now this is Bankhead, not Buckhead. like now Buckhead is Bankhead.
Damn, that's crazy. Luckily, I haven't had to experience any of that crime since I've been here. But
you probably won't. It's not as much, like, they're not targeting folks like that on the West Side.
No,
like that. Like,
they fucking with all these new folks, and
really?
they fucking with people who don't know that you're not supposed to leave your car running, and don't know that you're not supposed to leave your laptop bag in the car after work. And
that's all these new folks that are coming to Atlanta.
People that live in a bubble, they getting their bubbles busted. But just casually riding around the city.
But you know what though? Also, I don't live in a bubble. I live in a time capsule. I live in a time capsule that was Atlanta before then, and I'm like, oh my god, like this place has changed so much. Like, dude, the new areas, that place that we went to get lunch, the lumber yard or something like that. Oh, bro, it's so nice. And then like I think we went to the works or something
quarry,
like
the water quarry.
The quarry, that shit's so nice. I was like, dude,
that place is pretty nice.
The West Side Park?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, there's two different things. I thought the water park on Simpson and the rock quarry was the same thing.
I did too. And it's
the quarry is off of
Bankhead.
Off of like Howe Mill Industrial, whatever. Yeah. Off Huff Road and all that. Whereas the Westside Water Park is right off Simpson. Right on Simpson.
They're both nice as shit. Like the quarry one is supposed to be the one that's bigger than Piedmont. Piedmont. The other one that you mentioned, it's got like a splash pad and like bro, that's still a nice fucking park. And it's like right in like Vine City. I was like, yo, this is nice as shit. Yeah. But it's in the hood. Like that's what I was like, I hope they don't fuck this up. Like,
I'm definitely torn, and it's become a common theme here, and I always bring it up with people because I want people to hear, people who not from Atlanta or people that are not familiar, maybe you live in Conyers or some shit like that. Sorry to you. I want you to hear the different people's perspective of how they think about Atlanta, particularly if they grew up here. And I'm just torn because it's great to walk. It's great to ride around and see pretty new buildings. But then what ain't great is not seeing familiar people that's not familiar.
I said
that don't look like you.
I said that to Jim. I was like,
riding through Boulevard, Fourth Ward, and seeing brownstones and condos and all of these like luxury living in a fucking poverty-stricken neighborhood,
bro.
So that pulls my heartstrings the most to know that just 5 years from now, Black people will not be an identity in Atlanta anymore.
What's so crazy?
We will be an afterthought, and then the culture of Atlanta will just be a myth.
Yeah, like
it'll just be a myth.
It's not all sunshine and roses because I told Jennifer, I was like, I've got a feeling like now I won't go anywhere and know anybody. Like, because it used to be like, oh, there goes so-and-so, what's going on, bro? Blah, blah, blah. And you kind of keep it moving, whatever. You see somebody,
You ride through Summerhill, you holler at them. Yeah. You ride through Zone 3, you holler at them.
Yeah, and it's like now, like, I told her, I was like, I feel like a stranger, a guest in my own home. Because I was like, I'm sure we'll go places. Like, when it was actually, it was kind of a problem. Like, when you go somewhere with the new girlfriend and, like, you run into, like, oh, shit. Like, that happened one time when we went to a Kroger and I was like, oh, hey. Well, go get go down there.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
all right, it's nice to see you. Bye. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, right. Like, hey, I ain't trying to be funny. But
like,
I
don't
can't
do
do
it.
it.
Yeah. So and like, now it's just like I literally will go places, and it sounds like I'm not a celebrity or something like that, but people aren't gonna recognize me. People aren't gonna know me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna be like, oh, there go Nemo. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless I'm on my block. Like, you know, so I definitely got that on my. But like back in the day, you could be like, oh, there goes so and so. Oh, what's up? You know,
Can't go nowhere without seeing somebody you know.
Yeah,
Right.
you literally couldn't. You know, and now it's just like these.
Now you
aren't even
going
this,
like this when you go
places.
places.
It's like these aren't even the same. I say type of people, but like bro, having white people on my mom's block, I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. Like, I don't even believe it. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, we went to Fellini's, and I was like, I guarantee you, because I'm not gonna say it became a problem, but Jennifer, it's not something you just overlook when you run into like an ex when you're with your new girlfriend. And I was like, babe, like, I didn't plan that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just happened to be around here. Fast forward, I was like, we're going to go places, and I'm not going to know anybody. Yeah. And she was just like, she doesn't know the difference. You know what I'm saying? Because she grew up in Gwinnett. She went to Georgia State. But, like, even then, you're still like kind of like a guest. You know, like, you don't, you didn't grow up down here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not the same. And she's just like, because she's from Gwinnett, she's like, oh, like, and I'm like, no, there were no white people, like none. Oh, yeah. And I dude, like what they're doing in my mom's neighborhood is so fucking annoying because every newly renovated house they had that whack ass Mosley Park Historic District fucking thing on it. It's a sign. It's a sign. But
it's a sign that they slap on all the new houses.
It's literally it pisses me off because I'm like, all these houses are in the Mosley Park Historic District, but you guys just want to put it on y'all's houses because it's basically what it does. It says white people live here. Right. Literally, it might as well say white people.
Or what it might as well say is we're the change in this.
Yeah. That's a better take on it.
We're the pioneers of rebuilding this. Yeah,
it's
just like, man, before 10 years ago, I'd never heard the term Old Fourth Ward in my entire fucking life. It was Four Fingers, No Thumb, or it was Fourth Ward, or it was Boulevard.
It was Boulevard,
because truly, like, you either lived at the bottom or the top. Boulevard folks didn't necessarily fuck with the Wheat Street folks, or the top didn't necessarily fuck with the bottom. But now it's Old Fourth Ward encompasses the homes of Hunt City Market and the Amley District and the Old Fourth Ward Park. And it's just like, wow, these are, I'm not going to be too butthurt about it. But my history of what I grew up with ain't that.
No, it's
more.
Not.
It'd be different if those things were made for you.
What I would love most to do is to move to ideally, I would like to move to 407 Angier Avenue, the apartment or the address that I grew up with. And for me to do that, I probably need about $600,000. And when I lived there, our rent was $6. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it just blows my mind how you can go from poverty-stricken neighborhood
and not like mild
and
like you're not kidding, like
no transition. It's not like the hood went from just a notch over the hood to kind of these houses to now brownstone.
It's like
condos.
Luxury living.
It's like you niggas have been here long enough.
Bye. And bye. That's what I said. I was like, dude, what I hate about it, because like I said, it's not all like I'm not completely ignorant.
And excuse my use of the N-word, but I get to say it.
But it's like we will make, and by we I mean the city, or the whatever. We'll make you live in it until I can find some value in it and I can profit off of it. Now I'm gonna make it nice, and you gotta go.
You gotta go.
It
ain't no units allocated.
That is literally what the belt line is. Like I'm like, like the belt line is this nice thing that otherwise, if you had given this to this community long time ago and given us a path to the fucking park, we would have fucking used it. But now, it's like, yo,
you'll do this for the white people.
We
gotta hurry up and build this belt line.
We can get this belt line, and we can bring these. You know, I'm
talking about the West Side Park. You keep saying it's not gonna be that big. It's not gonna be big. Like, bro, white folks live over there now.
Yeah,
they're gonna throw shit up over there.
They're gonna throw shit. I just don't think it will be geographically. It will be larger than Piedmont, but I think Piedmont has location.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna be as popping.
It's got that.
Eventually, it will.
I disagree, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Right. And you know, when I say white people, that's also just kind of like an easy, like, you know,
because it ain't
because not just white people. It's international people, and it's black people too.
It's a different tax bracket.
Right. It's different tax brackets coming in and erasing others. And you know, even if you wanted to play it off as a developer, and obviously I'm not into like commercial real estate and all that, but even if you wanted to play it off on paper, you would take the Mosley Parks and the boulevards or whatever, and you'd form a committee and you try to source out and find the most prominent and contributing members of these neighborhoods, and then you would try to make a way for them to stay. And if you want to run the rest of the ignorant niggas away, then hey, I get that.
Gonna last anyway.
But you don't even try to find the cop, the teacher, the this, the that, the people that actually live in the neighborhood and contribute. You running them away too,
bro.
And
look
you
at
know,
Miss
like, oh my god,
yeah,
I was literally just about to say, Miss Scott, AJ's dad still lives there, Judge Dempsey. You know what I'm saying? But like Miss Scott had to, and I actually talked to Dave the other day.
Atlanta Daily World, Miss Scott, she was the editor of that newspaper. Now, gone.
And I was like, Dave, I just drove past your house, bro. Like, you guys still, you know, are you, what you do? You know, like, are you home? And he was like, bro, we sold that house. And I was like, what? I was like, God damn. And like, this woman is literally a contribution to Atlanta. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So,
like,
it's just, it's a very brazen style of gentrification.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you ask somebody who is in that so this is the thing. There's two sides to every story, because you can have this conversation with somebody who just recently moved here and they don't really want to hear that shit you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, to have, like you say, this time capsule that I remember Atlanta growing up with was one way, and then within the past just 5 years, I'm seeing 30 years of history that I've accumulated, built my mind, and it's just getting erased. It's like you pick 100 files on the computer and then you put delete on them.
And they're gone.
That's how neighborhoods are going away.
That's a good way of putting it, because it literally, I'm like. This building, what building is this?
Right.
What is that? Is that a hotel? Are those condos? Is that like an office, like district or park or whatever? Like, where did this even come from? Like, what did they even do there? Like,
talk to somebody in that tax bracket, and you give them these same things we're talking about, and they're gonna ask you, well, what's the alternative? And while that's a fair question, it's an easy one when you're in the position of doing the deleting.
Yeah.
Right? It's
when you're being deleted.
Right.
I guess I live in Norcross.
And that's a common problem in this country with almost every fucking issue that comes up. It's always easy for the people benefiting from the issue or the issue causers to be like, what should we do instead? Right. And it's like, bitch, I don't know, but I know this affected me and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So like, don't patronize. Yeah, don't patronize me, or like, don't fucking like do this thing where you're like, well, shit, what else am I supposed to buy a house at? Like, who else gonna clean up the neighborhoods, or how else is Atlanta gonna get rid of the blah blah blah? And it's like, the irony of this gentrification is crime is worse than it's ever fucking been.
Yeah.
So you tell me what the alternative is, motherfucker. We'll end that talk right there. God damn.
God damn it.
Well, Neiman.
Bring it back.
I'm so sorry, y'all. That shit do piss me off though, because I'm gonna be trying to look for a house next year, and that shit don't look too realistic.
We were literally just talking about that.
Like, and this is the city I grew up in, but motherfuckers from California, New York, Chicago, Boston, every place that's expensive as shit now lives here, and niggas that want to live here
because they
cannot live here.
Yeah.
So it's delusional for me to think I could move back to Boulevard. I barely live here. You know what I mean? Like if I wasn't living here, I don't know where the fuck I would be living.
That is crazy.
So yeah, I know I got a little mad at it end, but like that shit crazy. Go ahead.
And I would, if you would like to go on to another title, that's fine. But I remember Trevor, like I listen to Trevor Noah a lot. He said something that stuck out to me so much. He was like, I shouldn't have to leave the neighborhood, the community, the area that I'm from for opportunity, for funding, for this, for that.
Right.
Like, it's like a notion back in the day was like, I got to go to the other neighborhood to get the education that I need. It's like, why can't this area have the same books as that area?
Right.
Like, if you gave...
Why the tomatoes rotten at the Kroger on Cascade, but fresh in the one in Midtown? It's the same company.
Like, it's like if you...
We feeding humans.
If you funded the areas that you otherwise didn't care about, like you did care about, you wouldn't have to see... Like, because it was a period of time where it's like, well, like the black people are going, or there's certain demographics that are coming into these neighborhoods.
Right.
And
that's the problem.
The whole reason we even went to Grady is because it's like, you know what? That's cool. Well, they can have books with all the pages in them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I would have gone to Washington if it was.
You should have went to Washington.
You know what I'm saying? But
so that's where it starts. It starts with the schools, and so we're having an issue now where we can't get houses because what we qualify for, the high school, even though we don't even have kids in high school yet, the high school has to be above a certain score for you to qualify for this house in this area. Really? Or you're going to pay more for it. Yeah, that's just it. Or you're going to pay more of an interest rate on it. You're going to pay more monthly for it.
Wow.
So the issue, the way to solve that is clear out zoning for schools. My kid who stays on Bankhead can go to North Atlanta. Your kid, not even clear it out, but you force these kids to go to different neighborhoods in these schools, so that way your tax dollars don't just go to North Atlanta.
Right.
They don't just go to fucking Dunwoody High School.
Right.
Your tax dollars go to fucking Washington and they go to Doug.
And Doug,
everybody has all these good. Everyone has the same amount of books, the same good books,
Bro,
same good
and
teachers.
also that's why all these goofy ass cities around Atlanta want to make their own cities because they don't want to be the affluent people that live in the immediate surrounding of Atlanta, still technically Atlanta. They just want to keep their money in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's no way to form a community. That's the opposite of community. That's like, hey, we live in a bubble, but we work in Atlanta, we work in the city, but when we come back to Brookhaven, we just want to keep our dollars here. And it started from Sandy Springs, and it has gone down to Dunwoody, and it has come on down to Norcross, and it has come on down to Smyrna, and now it's the city of Brookhaven, and now Buckhead, goofy ass, which is just 3 miles away from the city. You could walk to Buckhead. Now they want to pretend like they just want to be the city of Buckhead, police their own, own police department, keep their own tax dollars. Buckhead is probably the richest part of Atlanta, and it would be huge for us to leave that tax money on the table. But the affluent, the same way we talking about how they'll just come and erase your whole neighborhood, they don't give a shit about the high schools and Washington High School and Crim High School. Yeah. Why? My kid goes to Paces, or my kid goes to the nice place or the IBM building North Atlanta. So I want to keep my dollars here. I want to make the money from the city. I absolutely need Atlanta to make a living, but when it's time to give back and do my fair share and pay taxes to the community, I just want to keep it here with me and my neighbors and fuck the rundown middle school and high school in which my tax dollars would help that. So, not only is Atlanta going through the remodel gentrification, every city around Atlanta that's affluent is pulling out and want to make it their own city. And it's two sides of that story too, because if you talk to a resident of Buckhead, they gonna look at you cross-eyed and they gonna tell you that their car got broken into and that they sick of seeing niggas always run. I'm gonna just keep saying niggas. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. They're sick of seeing niggas come around and
that's why they
things
go
are
Marta
just getting
out.
back.
That's why I don't let Marta go nowhere.
Right. And it's just like, but you live in Atlanta.
But you make our money.
But you're trying to pretend like Atlanta's a problem. So which one is it? Because don't live in a city that's a problem. Move the fuck away. But instead, Atlanta is about to, if Atlanta looks like this as a city, in 10 years, Atlanta just going to look like this on the map. And it's going to be Atlanta, Buckhead, Sandy Springs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
New Hollowell.
Yeah, right. West Side, Mosley Park, Mosley,
the city
of West Side, whatever. And it's just like, bro, this shit is such a joke. And I know we got to wrap this up in a minute. We've been going for a while. I knew that this would happen.
I was counting on it.
Yeah, fortunately, this is the only one we're recording today, so that's why we made it a little long-winded. But just seeing this stuff, and I try to be as active. I keep up with shit going on. Like, I'm not this dude that's super into politics or whatever. But I like to be up to date about shit so that when it's time to talk about it, I can actually just talk about things based on like a foundation of facts and not just whatever. Now, of course, you're gonna throw your opinion, your 2 cents in eventually, but Atlanta's going through a very irreversible change, and then it will never be able to go back. And I'm just so worried that this might. I'm so worried that this might not be my home. And then I'm also worried that 10 years from now, once people have chewed up and spit Atlanta out, they will then move to the next city. They'll move to Raleigh, and they'll buy up all that. They'll move to Huntsville, and they'll move to Memphis, and they'll kick all the niggas out of Memphis. And then all of a sudden it'll be,
won't
be the
South no more.
Yeah, right. So like, I'm not a fan of just the brazen, like, hey, you either got it or you don't if you want to be here now.
Yeah.
So, but it's two sides to every story, because, the alternative is like, what if we didn't have no gentrification? Then everything would just
You can still develop and make it affordable.
You could.
And that's what I was saying. You could still develop.
Right.
You could still develop. Because developing the neighborhood is one thing. Gentrifying the neighborhood is another. But it's like you said, it's like, well, I always try to say is, until I being, like I was called the man, if I can't profit anything off of it, I don't see any reason or value in doing it. It's like, oh, now I can make some money off of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this, and you gotta go.
It's kind of the blueprint of this country. You think about every major problem that is like a very important thing. It does not get addressed until there is a monetary value that can be attached to it.
Like the weed thing, like that. Like
the weed. No, we don't want to get too far on the weed.
Yeah.
Every fucking issue, unless money can be made from it, it will just be an issue.
Not in the United States.
So like, I'll give you an example. Mental health is probably the most underlying, acknowledged issue in America right now. It ain't no industry for mental health. It ain't no way to make no money off this shit. It ain't no way for us to be like, oh, here's a vaccine to make your mind not crazy no more, But if they could come up with that, then that'd be important. So, it just, America's value, we would like you to believe is freedom and democracy. But the absolute undeniable reality is America's true core value is a dollar sign. It's money.
Capitalism.
And if it don't have nothing to do with money, we can move on to the next topic. And so, like you say, the no-brainer thing is to start developing things. Start implementing more boys and girls clubs. Start implementing more after school, more mentorships. Or you could just wait until the money shit makes sense on paper and just bulldoze the whole fucking thing.
So we've got enough bandos over here. Let's go ahead and Brock builds it up.
All right, Neiman. We're going to wrap this up. I am so glad we got to catch you. I'm so glad I got to hang out with you a few times before this. Inadvertently, Joe got to kill 2 birds, 1 stone, catch up with you, talk. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck with, you say you're going to be in San Diego, right?
Yeah, man, come
And
through.
hopefully, I'm finna say, me and my boyfriend Morgan go visit you. And,
you and your homeboy Morgan.
Yeah, me and my homeboy, we get a little serious,
Yeah, we'll be in San Diego. Like I said, graduate school, February, March time frame. San Diego, give us a chance to find a fucking place to live, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, man, I have said it since day one. Wherever I stay, niggas is welcome. You know what I'm saying? Like, Joe can attest to that. Like, came through to Point Magoo. Come through, man. All I want to do is see my niggas succeed, one. But two, if I can experience something and I can share a little bit of it, bro, come through.
Right.
If San Diego's dope, you want to drive some jet skis or some shit? Like, let's just go do something that I've got a chance to experience. I want to show you that it's awesome. Like, come on, man. Yeah, man, come through. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, and Joe, also, in the future, if you ever see my lips getting chapped, just do like that too.
I got you.
Just lick your lips at me.
You know how you make every nigga in the room check their lips to do what you just did? I'm like,
I normally would, but
Oh no, I got caught lacking on one of these last episodes. I ain't gonna lie.
Why does Dan's
I look
lip?
at the playback. I'm like,
God damn.
Shit. Don't go back and look. We'll go back and look. Disappointed to get you to go back and look. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said in the previous episodes, me and this guy are plotting on adding to this. Obviously, like we have a new intro, we got some new outros. We have a lot of ideas, and now that we're past 10 episodes of this thing, it's no longer kind of like a pilot test run anymore. I think we pretty got a good idea where we want to move forward for this, so you'll be seeing a lot of changes. First thing is we're going to organize this Patreon page, because I'm definitely finna go from asking y'all to like and subscribe to asking y'all to sign up for the Patreon.
Give us some money.
And you know, I know that'll be a slow working process, but for now, I do plan on recording like a bonus once a month Patreon episode. And you know, like we said before, the Patreon will include everybody who has been on here that provide a service, and you will get like a 15% off. So it really will make sense. You'll be supporting me, supporting them all, and kind of just getting your money back if you use these different vendors. But most importantly, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everybody who has come on, everybody who's given me positive feedback.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, this
Thanks
was really cool. Joe, you wanna take us out?
Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you stopping by, Neiman.
Absolutely, man.
We gonna burn that jersey before you go to Pensacola. Appreciate y'all for coming in, for checking us out.
Bye-bye.